existing evidence preserved for more than 50 years using forensic technology that didn't exist back then. But today wasn't just about the science, it was about the family. Laura's younger sister, Michelle Impala, spoke about growing up with her and what this moment means. Investigators say this DNA profile could now help other agencies close other Bundy-related cases, while for Laura's family, it finally brings answers after more than half a century. From Spanish Fork, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
KSL News Radio's Dave Cawley, the host of the Cold podcast, has some background on what happened the day that she went missing more than 50 years ago.
She disappeared on Halloween night. She had been hanging out with some friends. She left to go home or to, go to another place. She was hitchhiking in Utah County. That was the last time anybody saw her, was hitchhiking in American Fork. And then it was another few weeks around Thanksgiving time when a man and his girlfriend who were taking a hike in American Fork Canyon came across her body along the creek in American Fork Canyon.
Cawley says at the time, several women were missing, those of which we later learned were victims of Ted Bundy. We have an update on the human remains found in the mountains above Springville over the weekend. The Utah County Sheriff's Office says investigators were able to determine a possible identity based on personal articles found at the scene. The family has been notified, but they are not publishing the possible ID until it is confirmed, that of which could take months. An American Fork man has been sentenced to serve a prison time for killing his brother-in-law. Kevin Ellis was ordered to serve multiple prison sentences, including 15 years to life for shooting his brother-in-law, Matthew Ristelli, almost 2 years ago. Prosecutors initially accused Ellis of conspiring with his mom and sister to kill Ristelli, who was his sister's estranged husband. He was not convicted of conspiracy, but of murder. His sister is already serving 7 years to life sentence after pleading guilty to murder and conspiracy. Ellis's mother is scheduled to stand trial for conspiracy later this month. A recent Utah National Guard recruit was arrested on suspicion of child sexual exploitation. Draper police say 19-year-old Oswin Nguyen is accused of having inappropriate photos of a 14-year-old girl in his phone and picking her up after she ran away from home. He was already under investigation at the time of his arrest for accusations of credit card fraud. National Guard says they are in the process of removing him from the National Guard. KSL's top national stories. The Supreme Court heard arguments challenging President Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship.
The president stayed for about half of the oral argument and watched as administration lawyer John Sauer faced tough questions from conservative justices. Trump appointee Neil Gorsuch asked,
"Do you think Native Americans today are birthright citizens?"
Sauer struggled to answer.
I think so.
Chief Justice John Roberts asked how the children of immigrants here illegally compared to known exceptions to birthright citizenship, such as the children of ambassadors.
I'm not quite sure how you can get to that big group from such tiny and sort of idiosyncratic examples.
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Cecilia Wang, legal director for the ACLU, says that she's optimistic about what the justices decide.
I come out of the court today with the thought of my parents and so many of our parents and ancestors who came to this country seeking refuge, seeking new opportunities, and who relied on the rule that we've had in this country for 150 years.
The court's conservative justices seemed skeptical of the government's argument. We will continue to follow the case and keep you up to date. Other national stories KSL is following this hour. Iran continues to block virtually all ship traffic within the Strait of Hormuz, causing oil prices to skyrocket globally. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers has the latest.
President Trump claimed on social media Wednesday that Iran has asked for a ceasefire, but he says he would only consider that if Iran makes the Strait of Hormuz, quote, open, free, and clear. The president adds, quote, until then, we are blasting Iran into oblivion. Just yesterday, the president said he believed the strait would, quote, automatically open when the U.S. ends its military operations against Iran. He also said Tuesday that Iran doesn't need to make a deal with the U.S. in order to stop the ongoing strikes. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
The average price of gas in the United States now tops $4 a gallon. First look traffic. What's happening, Tito?
We have a new accident on northbound I-15 in Draper. It's just before the Bangerter Highway exit. It has the right shoulder blocked and is causing congestion back beyond 146 South. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
Are you looking for a fun way to get your kids outside and off their screens this spring? Try flower gardening. Starting a beautiful flower bed or easy container garden is a great hands-on way to spend quality time together while teaching kids about nature. They'll love digging in the dirt, picking out their favorite flowers, and watching them bloom, all while making real, lasting memories. Plus, gardening is a great way to slow down, soak up some sunshine, and enjoy the fresh air as a family. This is Brian with Olson's Greenhouse, and my family has been growing flowers with care for 4 generations right here in Utah. Whether you have a big sunny backyard or just a small shady front porch, our colorful, locally grown flowers make it easy to add beauty to your home. So this spring, start with a new family tradition, one that grows with your kids. Get inspiration at Olson's Greenhouse Gardens on Instagram or find a garden center near you at ogg.com. That's ogg.com for Olson's Greenhouse Gardens.
Something about me, I don't like to settle. I work hard to be my best self, and I want a vehicle that matches. So I'm shopping for a Cadillac because their innovation and craftsmanship are top of the line. With a whole line of electric SUVs packed with state-of-the-art technology, I know I'll be driving away in redefined luxury. Help all of us at Jerry Seiner Cadillac celebrate our new location with an incredible buying experience for your dream car. Come in today to experience the Seiner difference.
Salt Lake City, this is your final boarding call, extended by popular demand. Titanic, the exhibition, is sailing away soon. Don't miss your last chance to experience the heartbreaking and heroic stories of her passengers and crew. See the incredible artifacts before the doors close forever on April 19th at the Shops at Southtown and Sandy. Get your tickets before they're gone at thetitanicexhibition.com. That's thetitanicexhibition.com.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story, Laura Amy is a confirmed victim of serial killer Ted Bundy. It could be a next step in identifying other victims. KSL News Time 12:08. Forecasters say all the rain and snow we are getting this week isn't enough to make up for a record dry winter. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says when it comes to this year's snowpack, it is too little too late, but that doesn't mean the rain won't have a positive impact.
It's going to replenish that soil moisture, the aquifers. It's also going to help out, staving off fire season and, of course, with the drought.
Matt says the rain could actually play a crucial role for us this summer if we get enough of it. He says if history is on our side between now and the end of May, a lot of rain could stave off wildfire season until June, when it typically starts.
Anytime we can buy here with frequent storms would be great.
Matt also says this rain could help curb drought progression in the state, which would be huge given the latest readings from the U.S. Drought Monitor show more than 2/3 of Utah is already in severe drought. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
It's no secret it's been a record-breaking dry and warm winter. Scientists at the U of U weighed in on our future here in the West.
I'm optimistic, but I don't think it's going to be easy.
That was Professor of Hydrology at the University of Utah, Paul Brooks. He says there is reason to be optimistic.
One of the reasons I moved here is because I think Utah is one of the best placed locations to study and understand the interactions, and best poised to get all the people working together to work in a common direction.
If you want inspiration for your outdoor spaces, there are many great resources such as the Utah State Extension, Conservation Water Park, and Red Butte Garden. A new Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute report is looking at how higher education contributes to the state's success. Education analyst Andrea Brandley says one item they looked at is homeownership.
And we do see that homeownership is much higher among those with a bachelor's degree or higher as compared to those with lower educational attainment.
Brownlee says other benefits for college grads include higher earnings and better health care coverage. They also tend to volunteer and vote more. Utah has the second highest rate of college education attainment in the nation. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at UCCU.com. Here's Tito Nani.
Despite the wet roads, we're seeing mostly good speeds on our valley freeways. However, there is an accident on northbound I-15 in Draper. It's just before the Bangerter Highway exit, and it's blocking the right lane as well as the shoulder, and it's causing delays back towards 146 South. Spring has blossomed in Box Elder County. History, recreation, and wildlife. And excellent dining and shopping await you. Learn more at visitboxeldercounty.com. Produced in cooperation with the Utah Office of Tourism. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Dialing up a 59 for a high today. Scattered showers. In fact, we might even see some sunshine this afternoon. 44 in the overnight with more rain showers. 50 degrees on your Thursday. Cold front bringing in valley rain and mountain snow. It will also be a little bit breezy. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And still some light rain in downtown Salt Lake City. And right now, 48 degrees. Coming up on Midday, we'll hear from the governor who took time this morning to talk soccer. The FIFA World Cup is on tour with one stop here in Salt Lake City. We'll hear more on that coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Amanda, I've got a cruise planned in a couple of months, and I was thinking about the other people who may have cruises planned coming up a few months from now, and why right now would be the best time for them to begin their weight loss journey on Soda Weight Loss.
If you started right now, you could lose 20, 30, 40 pounds before June.
That's right.
I lost 37 pounds in 3 months, 3.5 years ago. And the beauty about soda is it's not a quick fix. This is learning that is going to last you the rest of your life and help you be healthy.
Your clothes fit better, your energy comes back, you don't get winded going upstairs.
Yeah.
Things that maybe you don't even realize. When I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, it felt like a transformation.
You learn what works for your body so you don't get addicted to shots or drugs. You just work with a nutritionist who's going to teach you how to keep the weight off for a lifetime.
Right now, you should go check out sodaweightloss.com, see all the thousands of before and after pictures, or speak with a nutritionist by giving a call 866-800-SODA.
Soda Weight Loss. Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
If you've saved more than $300,000, there's one thing you can do now that can make your savings go twice as far in retirement, and it's tax planning. That's right. Tax planning could significantly reduce the taxes on your IRA and 401k withdrawals, Social Security benefits, and other investment income. Find out how much money you could save with a free retirement tax savings analysis from the good people at Boss Retirement Solutions. To schedule your free analysis, call 801-896-9622. Tax planning for retirement could reduce your taxes not just for 1 year, but for the rest of your life. And the savings could be six figures. Let's find out how much money you could save. Call 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622.
For informational purposes only, actual results may vary. No statement contained herein shall constitute tax, legal, or investment advice. Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
Every day here in Utah, people turn to KSL News Radio for one simple reason: trust. Trust for our reporters, hosts, our coverage, and trust in the businesses heard right here. I've met so many of our listeners over the years, and they'll tell you KSL is part of their daily routine, in the car, at work, at home. And when they hear your business here, it carries the weight of that trust. It isn't just another ad. It's a recommendation coming from a reliable source. When you advertise on KSL News Radio, you reach a loyal, highly engaged audience who listens intentionally. They show up for breaking news, accurate information, and meaningful conversations. And because of that connection, they respond. And when you pair our on-air credibility with digital tools like display advertising, social media, streaming audio, search, geo-targeting, and retargeting, you get a full funnel strategy that works and reaches the right people at the right time. Get marketing that truly moves the needle. Partner with the voice Utah trusts. KSL. Learn more at kslnewsradio.com/advertise.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
we're going to get a good amount of rain and mountain snow over the next couple of days, but forecasters say it's not going to even come close to undoing the damage of a record low snowpack. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, investigators have confirmed one more Utah woman as a victim of Ted Bundy. Third, traffic and weather together, Tito.
Our biggest trouble spot remains northbound I-15 between 146th and 132nd South and Draper, seeing heavy congestion due to an accident just before the Bangerter Highway exit that has the right lane and shoulder blocked off. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Couple of days of stormy weather, then clear for the weekend. I'm Matt Johnson.
Light rain in downtown Salt Lake City and 48 degrees. Time for KSL's top national story.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. At the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, the Artemis II crew set to lift off in just over 4 hours for a 10-day trip around the moon. This hour, the
And
four
here they
astronauts.
are, NASA's Artemis II crew.
Walking out of quarantine after the techs helped them get into their spacesuits, playing out on NASA TV. The moon mission is NASA's first in over 50 years. ABC's Jim Ryan says the crew also slated to make history.
The profile of the typical astronaut has changed dramatically since the last mission to the moon in 1972. The Apollo 17 team comprised 3 white men, none of whom had reached age 40. The crew of Artemis II includes a woman and an African-American man. At 47, co-pilot Christina Cook is the youngest of the crew members.
The Supreme Court heard arguments today in the Trump administration's efforts to end birthright citizenship. President Trump appearing briefly at that hearing where the ACLU is challenging his executive order to change how the Constitution interprets the 14th Amendment that grants automatic citizenship to children born in the U.S. Justices appearing skeptical of the Trump administration's arguments. Cecilia Wang, legal director for the ACLU, says she's optimistic.
I am confident that the court is going to turn back this president's effort to radically rewrite our 14th Amendment rule of birthright citizenship.
Tonight, President Trump addresses the nation on the war in Iran. It comes as the war drags into a 5th week. The Strait of Hormuz remains cut off from the majority of ship traffic.
President Trump now saying the U.S. is prepared to leave Iran even if the Strait of Hormuz is still closed to most ships. Iran's president also suggesting the end is in sight, saying we possess the necessary will to end this conflict, while calling for security guarantees.
ABC's Olivia Rubin reporting. You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The FIFA World Cup is in Salt Lake City, just one stop on its world tour. Governor Spencer Cox says this is an exciting time for the country and Utah.
This World Cup coming to the United States is something that many of us have been looking forward to for a long, long time. It is also the beginning of an incredible 8-year run for our country. We're so excited that we kick things off with a world-class event, the world coming to see the most popular sport in the world, that the United States will be playing such a major role in that this year. And of course, then we have the Olympics coming to Los Angeles in a couple of years in 2028, and we'll finish off that iconic run here in Utah with the Winter Olympics in 2034. Utah is a state of sport. We host as many world-class events as any state in the country. Again, most of them winter, but certainly not all of them. And this is a cool opportunity for Utahns to participate in something that means so much to our friends around the world. As somebody who lived in Mexico for a couple of years, I can tell you that our friends to the south love this sport immensely as well. And sport is about unifying. That's what we love most about it. In sport, it doesn't matter what your politics are, it doesn't matter what your religion is, it doesn't matter what your race is, it's all about the competition. And we saw that, of course, with the Winter Olympics that just finished in Italy. We saw the best of humanity coming together, and we're about to see that again.
There are rumors that Salt Lake City will serve as a base camp for some teams during the World Cup matches here in the U.S., but that has not been confirmed. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Tito?
Delays remain on northbound I-15 in Draper. This is between 146 South and the Bangerter Highway exit. It's due to an accident that still has the right lane and shoulder blocked. Also down south in Utah County, we have a rollover accident. It's on northbound I-15 just about 2 miles north of Santaquin. The left lane is blocked, causing heavy delays. Common Spirit, hospitals, clinics, and caregivers, all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL hourly forecast going for 59 today, a little bit cooler. And of course, a slight chance for showers this afternoon, but mainly broken up. 50 tomorrow with a cold front, valley rain, mountain snow, and breezy. 49, partly cloudy skies on Friday. Saturday, 58, mostly sunny skies. A beautiful Easter Sunday, 65 and sunny. We then break it into the 70s Monday and Tuesday with mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Light rain in downtown Salt Lake City and 48 degrees. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. quick check of the markets. They are in good shape this afternoon. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
Every day on your way home, you pass it. That one lawn so thick and deep green, it belongs in the big leagues. It sets the bar for the entire street, making every other lawn look like it's still waiting for a wake-up call. Look for the sign of a winner. Big League Lawns. Now, it's your turn. Level the playing field and get the results your home deserves. Go home to a Big League Lawn.
Are mosquitoes still ruining your nights? The kids are finally outside, the string lights are glowing, and the swatting starts. Don't let mosquitoes steal your summer. Call Skeeter Eater, a Utah company built for backyards like yours. Our family-friendly treatments and smart mosquito traps keep the fun going long after sunset. Fewer bites, happier nights, and peace of mind that lasts all season. Book now and get $40 off your first treatment at SkeeterEater.com. Skeeter Eater. Stop the bites. Start the fun.
So as you can see here, the standard deviation compared to the beta tells a whole different story, which of course makes your Sortino ratios off the charts. I mean, where else can you find that geometric adhesion? Naturally, if the ex-dividend date hadn't passed, we'd be even better off, but aligning that with the quantitative technicals, you can see that the risk premium is dictating the pricing models we're currently following, which is really messed with our alpha numbers, but the PE ratio
Yeah, keep going. I'm with you. Sometimes you just need straight common sense talk about your retirement. The Tax-Free Retirement Show, Saturday afternoons at 5.
Make game day yours with the Utah Mammoth app. Get your tickets, order food and drinks without leaving your seat, track live stats, and stream every game with Mammoth Plus, all in one place. It's the ultimate game day essential, designed for Mammoth fans. Stay connected to your hometown team and never miss a moment. Download the Utah Mammoth app today on iPhone and Android. Turn on push notifications and make every day game day. Tusks up.
I was in foot pain for 20 years, trying to give it relief, buying all these different insoles. Drugstore insoles, custom insoles. I spent thousands of dollars. I bought all these products, and not a single one worked. I really, truly needed to have relief in my feet. And the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed.
For over 20 years, we've been helping people like Teresa actually live the life they love without their feet getting in the way.
They wanted to make sure that I got something that my feet felt good in, not somebody else's feet. I love the fact that I can wear these arch supports in all my shoes. I have boots, I have cowboy boots, I have running shoes, I have walking shoes, I have flat shoes, I have heels. It makes me so happy. If you ask my husband, he will crack up because there is no store I would rather go in than a shoe store. I'm Teresa, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
KSL News Time 1224. A toddler's fast food meal is inspiring millions online.
Oklahoman Ashlyn Drew was at a McDonald's last week with her 3-year-old son, Hudson, when he noticed an elderly man eating breakfast by himself.
And he asked where the older man's kids were. And I was like, I don't know. They might have moved away. And he didn't like that, so he went over there and asked if he could sit with them.
So, Huddy, as he's nicknamed, took his little tray and slid into the booth to join the man and have breakfast together. Since then, Ashlyn's post on TikTok has picked up more than 1 million views, with one commenter writing, "Sometimes, as adults, we need to sit back and learn from kids."
Certainly do. Just love that story. That is ABC's Danny New reporting. Watching Utah's Money. Eli Lilly, the pharmaceutical company behind weight loss drugs Mounjaro and Zepbound, is expanding. It's looking to take over Centessa Pharmaceuticals for $7.8 billion. Centessa is most known for its experimental drug combating daytime excessive sleepiness. Visa is utilizing AI. The company is launching AI tools to manage the charge dispute process. Just last year, Visa processed more than 103 million disputes. CNBC reports that's a 35% increase from 2019. News for parents who borrowed student loans on behalf of their kids. The government is suggesting anyone who wants to keep taking out Parent Plus loans should start the process today because the program is coming to an end this summer. The program allows parents to get lower payments based on their income. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 195 points, nearly 0.5%, sitting at 46,536. S&P is up by 36 points, and the Nasdaq up nearly a full percent, up 195 points. A new trailer for Masters of the Universe is out, and we're hearing Skeletor's voice for the first time.
You may have the power, but you're too scared to use it.
The villain is played by Jared Leto, and although it's a live-action and more intense version of the character, some people are not happy with his voice since it sounds nothing like it did in the cartoon.
Why do I surround myself with fools? Even the robots are smarter than you.
Director Travis Knight says he's happy with it, and he likes that it takes a new take on something so iconic.
At Trio South Ogden, the best years aren't behind you. They're right here. Discover independent living services that embrace aging as an opportunity to lean in, not step back, to pursue passions, not retire from purpose. Here, life is bright, colorful, and unapologetically fun. Because aging doesn't mean changing who you are. It means having more time to be exactly who you are. Schedule your tour today at trioSouthOgden.com.
You're the gatekeeper of green, the master of mowing, the wizard of watering schedules. When it comes to your lawn, power moves are the only moves you make. That's why you use IFA's 4+ Lawn Care program, with nutrients blended for greener, healthier turf in our local soil. IFA's 4+ Lawn Care program. It's the ultimate lawn owner power move.
KSL News Time is 12:27.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes. But if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. The majority of victims know their attacker. It could be your friend, your neighbor, or someone you met at a party. If you said no, it's rape, and it's a crime. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Call the National Sexual Assault Hotline today at 1-800-656-HOPE or visit RAIN.org. That's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU. Love where you bank. Here's Tito Nani.
Heavy traffic down south in Santaquin, and it's going both directions. Northbound I-15, there was an accident just about 2 miles north of Santaquin. This has the left lane blocked, and there's heavy delays between Santaquin and Spring Lake. And delays remain on northbound I-15 in Draper. It's between 146th South and 132nd South. Spring is calling. Answer in Cedar City and Bryan Head. Head south. Try something different. A one-tank getaway that gives you more vacation. Plan now at visitcedarcity.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Look for highs in the upper 50s today. Some of us might reach 60. Look for some isolated showers this afternoon and maybe even some peaks of sunshine. 44 overnight with more showers. I got 50 degrees on Thursday with a cold front bringing in valley rain and mountain snow. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, a bit of light rain in downtown Salt Lake City and 48 degrees.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time, 1230. KSL's top story this half hour. Homeland Security is hitting the pause button on buying warehouses to use as immigration detention facilities across the country. But what does this mean for Salt Lake City? KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson is live with the latest. Heather?
Maria, the department is pausing purchases because it's currently going back over all the contracts signed by former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Senior officials told the Associated Press that with Markwayne Mullins as the new DHS secretary and with any transition of power, they're reviewing agency policies and proposals. That includes the $38 billion plan to boost detention capacity by 92,000 beds at detention and processing centers across the country. But this pause is on future purchases, and they've already gone through with the $145 million purchase of a warehouse in Salt Lake City. The city says they're currently inquiring with DHS and ICE officials to learn if this pause will have any impact on the plans for a detention facility here. Reporting live, Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
Immigration detainees are not to blame for overcrowding conditions inside the Salt Lake County jails. That's according to Sheriff Rosie Rivera, who updated the county council with the latest numbers.
During public comment, there was a statement made that the jail currently has over 200 ICE detainees. That comment is inaccurate. It's not true.
She says there are inmates awaiting state charges or serving time for state crimes who also have an ICE hold. Right now, she says that's a total of 3 inmates out of more than 2,000 that are currently in Salt Lake County custody. Senator John Curtis is one of 4 lawmakers set to visit Asia before President Trump's summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Now, they will go to Taiwan, Japan, and South Korea to bolster U.S. alliances. The stop in Taiwan could be an issue to Chinese leaders as the country continues to claim that the island is Chinese territory. Curtis tells the AP that the U.S. alliance with Taiwan is one of the most strategically and morally significant partnerships America has in the region. An internet rumor around the bullet that killed Charlie Kirk was reportedly sparked by one bad headline. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott has details.
The Daily Mail, a British tabloid, was the first to publish a headline claiming the bombshell findings in the Robinson case. The exact headline said, quote, "The bullet used to kill Charlie Kirk did not match the rifle allegedly used by Tyler Robinson." This headline has since been labeled as misleading and untruthful by firearms experts. The truth is, the ATF could not conclusively draw a link between the fragment of bullet recovered during the autopsy and the rifle allegedly used by Robinson. However, CEO of Phoenix Ammunition Justin Nazaroff said on the Charlie Kirk Show that analyzing bullet fragments is an inexact science that often comes down to the best guess.
Unfortunately, this has only helped fuel the conspiracy theory, with multiple online sources prompting the misinformation or promoting the misinformation as truth. Arizona's governor has vetoed a bill that would have renamed State Route 202 in Phoenix after Charlie Kirk. The Democratic governor says the bill inserted politics into a government function that should remain bipartisan. The state's Republican Senate president says they have never required political agreement to recognize someone's contribution to public life in the past. KSL's top national stories. President Trump is set to deliver remarks tonight on the war with Iran. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers with the latest.
President Trump tonight will give what a White House official calls an operational update on the progress of the war with Iran. It's not yet clear he'll have any new announcements. This official says he'll reiterate what he has said in recent days about a 2 to 3 week timeline for ending the military strikes against Iran. He's also expected to say what the administration says is success in achieving objectives, which include destroying Iran's ballistic missiles, taking out its navy, ensuring Iranian proxy groups can't destabilize the Middle East, and guaranteeing Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
We will be streaming that live. Join KSL at 7 to hear it. Other national stories KSL is following. The opening of the Artemis II mission launch window is just hours away. The historic mission will send 4 astronauts farther into space than humans have traveled. ABC's Mula Lenghi is at the Kennedy Space Center.
This is also the first moon mission in more than 50 years. So in a sense, NASA kind of reconnecting to that lunar legacy. But they're also looking forward. You know, they're hoping that this paves the way to future Artemis missions. They're also hoping this paves the way for potentially a permanent base on the moon, and potentially even humans on Mars one day.
A lot of Utahns are going to be paying very close attention to the launch today thanks to Northrop Grumman's facilities in Promontory and Magna. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff takes a look at Utah ties to Artemis II.
The Artemis II will lift off the pad using 2 solid rocket boosters developed and tested at the Promontory facility here in Utah. NASA tested those boosters last June. The boosters are roughly 17 stories tall and provide more than 3.5 million pounds of thrust each. That's more than 75% of the thrust needed to get the rocket off the ground. Northrop Grumman employs more than 5,000 people here in Utah. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic, here's Tito Nani.
Heavy traffic remains on northbound I-15 due to an accident. It's at Spring Lake in Utah County. It's causing delays for 2 miles back beyond Main Street, Santa Quinn. And residual delays remain on northbound I-15 in Draper. It's between Bangerter Highway and 146 South. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35. It may not look like it right now, but summer is just around the corner. And if you want to take off those extra pounds before then, this is the time to start. Now, many people are hesitant to start a weight loss program because they're just tired of working hard to take the weight off and then gaining it back. Now, I've been telling you for the past couple of years how I was able to lose more than 40 pounds with the help of Salt Lake City Fat Loss. SLC Fat Loss is different than other programs because it not only educates you, but it gives you the resources necessary to keep that weight off. SLC Fat Loss is doctor developed. It's a 60-day program. It's all natural, no injections or medications. You eat regular food that you buy from the grocery store. Now, it also costs less than other programs because you don't have to pay for breakfast bars or meals or even for a nutritionist. Plus, they have a great app. It keeps you accountable, and it allows you to ask questions at any time. I lost more than 40 pounds, but many of their clients lose up to a pound per day. Learn more at slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com. Don't wait. You want to be slim for summer? slcfatloss.com.
Kitchen and bath transformations start with AMC Building Materials. AMC Building Materials is a large kitchen cabinet and countertop supplier serving both wholesale and retail customers. AMC offers factory direct pricing on all interior remodeling materials, giving you exceptional value without sacrificing quality. Most standard items are available for quick payment and pickup right away. AMC Building Materials provides professional service, free design, and free on-site measurements, along with expert installation by top AMC professionals. From bold kitchen designs to beautiful functional bathrooms, AMC delivers outstanding value with styles you'll love. And best of all, most projects can be completed within just 10 days. Come experience beauty you can see, quality you can feel, and service you can trust. Get directions to the new AMC Building Materials showroom at 3678 South 700 West today and schedule your free estimate. Visit amckitchenslc.org. That's amckitchenslc.org.
Thank you for joining me for Midday. Recapping our top story, Homeland Security is pausing all future warehouse purchases. Salt Lake City says they're currently inquiring to see what this means for the detention center proposal here in Utah. KSL News Time, 12:38. Iconic boxing gym in Spanish Fork has a weekly class dedicated to helping people with Parkinson's disease regain their strength and mobility along with building muscle. Gym manager and coach Sarah Benson structures the class with compound movements. Benson says that the movements that boxing requires, such as rotating hips and breath control, develop neural pathways that slow down progression of the disease.
Many of them have said it's changed their life, that it has given them a lot of functionality back.
Benson loves the class and says if it helps reduce their symptoms even just a little bit, then it's worth it. Some Californians and Oklahomans could get their tickets to LA 2028 events tomorrow. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla has more.
The tickets are set to go on sale, but only for those who live in the counties where the venues are. Those are mostly in California, but the canoe slalom and softball competitions will actually take place in Oklahoma. There's another caveat. To get a ticket tomorrow, you have to live in an affected county and have signed up for the pre-sale. If neither of those apply to you, but you still want tickets, you better hope you signed up for the LA 28 ticket draw before March 18th. Tickets are expected to go for as low as $28, and in total, the LA Games are expecting to sell 14 million of them. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
The FIFA World Cup is right here in Salt Lake City. It's on World Tour just before the actual FIFA World Tour starts. Utah Governor Spencer Cox says it's the beginning of an incredible 8-year run for our country.
We're so excited that we kick things off with a world-class event, the world coming to see the most popular sport in the world, that the United States will be playing such a major role in that this year. And of course, then we have the Olympics coming to Los Angeles in a couple years in 2028, and we'll finish off that iconic run here in Utah with the Winter Olympics in 2034.
Salt Lake City is rumored to be a base camp for some teams while in the U.S. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Here's Tito Nani.
Our biggest trouble spot is northbound I-15 in Utah County. It's a rollover crash approaching Spring Lake, and it has traffic down to one lane. Heavy delays are in place all the way back beyond Main Street, Santaquin. And it looks like southbound I-15 is slowing due to onlookers. Expect congestion back towards the Payson area. If your roof needs repair or replacement, do it now during S&S Roofing's huge spring sale. Flexible financing options available. Get the best value on the highest quality roofing job. Get a quote today at snsroofingutah.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, temperatures running slightly cooler than yesterday with a high of 59. Look for some valley showers, mainly broken up by afternoon. We'll then go to 44 overnight with more rain showers. 50 degrees on Thursday, rain likely with a cold front, and then drying things out Friday afternoon. Partly cloudy skies, 49. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And still some lingering showers in the area. 48 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on Midday, we'll get some more analysis on the arguments presented to the Supreme Court this morning on birthright citizenship. That's coming up, streaming live at kslnewsradio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new, it's inherited. A ring from a grandmother, a necklace tucked away in a drawer, pieces full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jeweler specializes in reimagining family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Duke's on-site jewelers and designers work with you one-on-one to honor the original story while creating something fresh, modern, and uniquely yours. From resetting diamonds into new engagement rings to transforming multiple heirloom pieces into one stunning design, every project is crafted with care, precision, and intention. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, where old stories become new treasures. dukesjewelers.com.
If you don't care about saving 50% off your wireless bill for the same 5G coverage the big guys are charging a fortune for, maybe you care about keeping jobs in America. Pure Talk does. They've pledged to run their entire operation from this country, including all their customer service. Or maybe you care about our nation's veterans. Pure Talk does. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to America's Warrior Partnership, a fantastic organization working hard to prevent veteran suicide. Or maybe you care about closing America's skills gap. Pure Talk does. They're a proud supporter of MicroWorks. They're helping my foundation train the next generation of skilled workers. Don't get me wrong. Saving money's great, and you'll save plenty with Pure Talk. But if you want to be in business with people who share your values, dial pound 250. Say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Only one type of burger. For every pallet. Fries are extra. Large in size. We've got the shakes. Going over the brim.
Hey, this is Chris from JCW's. Put a positive, delicious spin on your day at any one of our 5 locations. In Lehigh, American Fork, Provo, South Jordan, or Harriman. JCW's, quality, and a lot of it.
I'm Congressman Mike Kennedy. For years, Utah families have paid too much for health care, groceries, and everyday essentials. I'm fighting for healthcare reform that puts patients first and lowers costs. I'm also working to cut waste, fraud, and abuse in Washington because your tax dollars should be spent wisely. Fiscal responsibility means lower costs and a government that works for you. I'm Mike Kennedy, and I'll keep fighting for Utah families. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
KSL News Time 1245, the 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
after more than 50 years, new DNA evidence confirms Ted Bundy killed Laura Amy, finally giving her family long-awaited answers and closure. I'm KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera.
Second, the Artemis II will lift off with some parts made right here in Utah. Third, traffic and weather together, Tito.
Heavy delays on northbound I-15. It's due to a crash at Spring Lake. It's just 2 miles north of Main Street, Santaquin. There's traffic at a standstill for miles back towards Rocky Ridge. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Some wet weather in the forecast for the next couple, and then clearing for Easter weekend. I'm Matt Johnson.
And a few lingering showers, 48 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. At the Kennedy Space Center, the crew of Artemis II arriving at the launch pad moments ago with just hours to go before the launch window opens. The mission for the astronauts to orbit around the moon and back on the 10-day test flight. So far, NASA says the historic launch is on track. President Trump is expected to address the nation tonight as the war in Iran grinds on.
President Trump tonight will give what a White House official calls an operational update on the progress of the war with Iran. It's not yet clear he'll have any new announcements. This official says he'll reiterate what he has said in recent days about a 2 to 3 week timeline for ending the military strikes against Iran. He's also expected to say what the administration says is success in achieving objectives, which include destroying Iran's ballistic missiles, taking out its navy, ensuring Iranian proxy groups can't destabilize the Middle East, and guaranteeing Iran can never have a nuclear weapon.
ABC's Karen Travers on Wall Street. Optimism that the war could end soon, driving stocks higher today. This is ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The future of birthright citizenship is muddy. Supreme Court heard arguments today against President Trump's executive order to end it. The Solicitor General of the U.S., John Sauer, and Chief Justice John Roberts went at it.
As early as 2015, that based on Chinese media reports, there are 500 birth tourism companies in the People's Republic of China whose business is to bring people here to give birth and return to that nation.
Having said all that, you do agree that that has no impact on the legal analysis before us?
Of course, we're in a new world now, as Justice Alito pointed out, where 8 billion people are one plane ride away from having a child who's a U.S. citizen.
Well, it's a new world. It's the same Constitution.
CNN's chief legal affairs correspondent Paula Reed has been analyzing the arguments.
And it's pretty clear from that comment that he is not on their side. What's also clear is that President Trump's presence during today's arguments did not make the justices more sympathetic to his arguments. It was clear over the past few hours that the justices, the majority of them, are deeply skeptical about his executive order limiting a birthright citizenship. Even the 3 conservative justices he appointed do not appear to be willing to side with his administration's interpretation of the 14th Amendment. Now, the one I was really watching was, of course, Trump nominee Justice Kavanaugh, who has, over the past few years, been in and out of favor with the president. Right now, though, he is in favor because of the tariffs decision. He was really quiet today, Manu. But the one question he asked was really important and telling. He pressed John Sauer, the Solicitor General, arguing for Trump on the fact that he's not only asking the court to overturn a century of the court's interpretation, but also at least 2 laws that Congress has passed that really support the idea that if you're born here, you're a citizen. Let's take a listen to what Kavanaugh said.
Congress repeats that same language, knowing what the interpretation had been.
It was difficult for Sauer to really square that. Now, after the Trump administration's argument, the president did leave the court. The other side, the ACLU, look, they just had an easier time of it before the justices. The questions were a little bit softer. She was given more time to answer. And at time, even the conservative justices appeared to be asking questions to sort of help them figure out how to write their opinion and not so much how they should rule. Now, we won't know their decision likely until June. We know President Trump, of course, has made this not just a conservative majority, Manu, but a conservative supermajority. He has enjoyed many major legal victories before this court. But based on what we heard today, it appears unlikely that they are going to hand him another victory on this executive order on birthright citizenship.
CNN's Paula Reed outside the courthouse, as well as all of those demonstrators that you can hear in the background. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Tito?
A crash down south in Utah County is still causing heavy congestion. It's on northbound I-15 between Spring Lake and Main Street, Santaquin. Southbound I-15 in this area is also slowing due to onlooking traffic, and it stretches back towards 8th South in Payson. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. I got 59 today with things breaking up in the afternoon. 50 tomorrow, rain showers likely with a cold front and a little bit breezy. 49, partly cloudy skies there on Friday, and potentially even an AM rain snow shower. You move into your Saturday, 58, mostly sunny skies. Sunday, 65. Easter looks great with sunny skies. You move into Monday, 70 degrees. We're back to 73 by Tuesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And it's mostly cloudy in downtown Salt Lake City, 48 degrees. This 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets right now. The NASDAQ up by nearly a full percent. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
Imagine all that could happen in 5 years. Jobs change, kids grow up, new memes come and go. But what if you had reliable, intelligent Wi-Fi and the price didn't change for 5 years? Well, thanks to the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee, you don't have to worry about that part of your future. You're guaranteed 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to your devices that need the most, that finds and fixes any issues before you even notice. It's like a super intelligent Wi-Fi that keeps you protected from online threats. You get incredible gaming speeds on multiple devices and no one battling for bandwidth for the next 5 years. All your devices will be working in perfect harmony with the equipment, with no annual contracts, no fees, and no strings. So even though your kid will grow up and you still won't understand 6, 7, the price for your sharp, reliable internet will stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Select plans only.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
KSL News Time 12:54. The Apple company turns 50 today. ABC tech expert Mike Dubusky has more.
CEO Tim Cook spoke with ABC News about some of his company's biggest product announcements.
Reinventing music, reinventing the smartphone.
But in the last year, Apple has had to endure an uncertain manufacturing environment, particularly around the Trump administration's tariff policy. That's why Cook says they're investing $600 billion in American manufacturing.
The Apple company is now valued at over $4 trillion. Watching Utah's money, gas prices are not easing. The national average is sitting at $4.06. Here in Utah, it's $4.19, and that's according to AAA. A new health monitoring device with some big-name investors is now worth $10 billion. It's called Whoop. A wristband worn 24 hours a day. It tracks heart rate, blood pressure, blood oxygen, skin temperature, and respiratory rates. That's from the New York Times. It enters an extremely competitive market alongside Oura Rings, Fitbits, and Apple Watches. Novo Nordisk is expanding its reach for weight loss drug Wegovy. The company is launching a multi-month subscription program allowing patients to pay lower, predictable prices. It covers the injection and the newly released pill form. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 237 points. That's more than 0.5%, sitting at 46,578. S&P up by 39 points, and the Nasdaq, it's up nearly a full percent, up by 204 points. Hershey is making a change, reverting back to classic recipes for all Reese's products starting next year. The change comes after the grandson of Reese's founder criticized the company for shifting to cheaper ingredients. Reese's peanut butter cups have always been made with real milk chocolate or dark chocolate and peanut butter, but a small portion of Hershey's and Reese's products, like the mini Easter eggs, are now made with a coating that contains less chocolate.
Can you hear it? That's the sound of nature waking up in Box Elder County. Spring has sprung, and the first visitors are already here. From grebes to geese, Bear River Bird Refuge is alive with the sound of thousands of wings. And it's not just the birds who are invited. There's plenty for you to enjoy. Experience the world-class minerals at Crystal Hot Springs. Stand on the spot where the railroads joined and forged the destiny of a nation at Golden Spike National Historic Park. Check out the jaw-dropping murals up and down Tremonton's charming Main Street. The list goes on and on. Hungry? From fine dining to classic comfort food, Box Elder County has something that's sure to hit the spot. In Box Elder County, the air is fresher, the sky is wider, and spring is in full bloom. Come wake up your senses and plan your spring escape at visitboxeldercounty.com. Produced in partnership with the Utah Office of Tourism.
Running a small business means juggling a lot. Your network has to handle it all. That's where a fiber-only provider falls short. You need a partner who gives you a greater advantage. Introducing the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A first-ever combination of the largest, fastest fiber-powered network, the most reliable Wi-Fi, gig speeds with equipment and security included, and a 5-year price lock. Plus, it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A new standard for small business with reliability, security, and savings in one. Switch today. Get started with a great offer as low as $60 a month. When you add it all up, no one does business like Comcast Business.
Offer ends 6/1/26. New customers only. Requires 300 megabits per second internet and security edge. 1-year agreement, eco-bill, and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
Traffic and weather together. It is brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU. Love where you bank. Here's Tito Nani.
That crash down south in Utah County, Santaquin, is all cleaned up. The left lane is now back open. Expect residual delays for a good while, but it now looks to be in the clear. Salt Lake County, some slight congestion on southbound I-15 between the I-215 junction and the 7200 South exit, but nothing major. Our roads look to be in pretty good shape as we approach the 1 o'clock hour. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Taking a look at the forecast for the Wasatch Front, today's high 59 degrees and still a 90% chance of showers. Tomorrow, though, back to that 100% chance of showers. Tomorrow's high around 50 degrees, 49 on Friday with still a 30% chance of lingering showers. Then it looks like a lot of sunshine for the weekend with showers returning possibly on Tuesday of next week. And we're looking at highs over the weekend, close to 60 degrees on Sunday. Actually, Easter Sunday is going to be beautiful, 65 degrees. Some of the temperatures in the region right now, 48 degrees here downtown. Provo at 44, St. George, the warm spot at 61 degrees. Park City, the cool spot at 34.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
After more than 50 years of waiting, finally some answers for the family of a woman found murdered in Utah in 1974. Officials saying that Laura Amy was in fact killed by notorious serial killer Ted Bundy.
I know that she would be really happy to know that it's been closed. And just to know that Ted Bundy is like gnashing his teeth in hell.
The time is 1 o'clock on Wednesday, April 1st. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, after more than 5 decades, Laura's family finally has a bit of closure. We have in-depth coverage of today's news conference and what this discovery could mean for other cold cases here in Utah. Also this hour, President Trump making an historic appearance in the Supreme Court chambers today as the justices heard arguments on the future of birthright citizenship.
The math is tough for Trump. The 3 liberal justices are likely to reject his argument, so he needs 5 votes. And based on the tough questions from the conservatives on the bench, that's a heavy lift.
The hearing wrapped up just a short time ago. We'll get a recap and discuss how this case might go. But first, our top stories. We do have some breaking news. National Weather Service issued a freeze warning for tomorrow night and into Friday morning. It will affect most of the northern Wasatch Front and Salt Lake Valley. They say the sub-freezing temperatures are on their way. The frost and freeze conditions are after our early summertime temperatures, and they could damage or kill early blooming crops and gardens. Our top national story from ABC News. The U.S. Supreme Court discussing President Trump's executive order that would cancel birthright citizenship today. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy reports on some of the oral arguments from Washington.
Administration lawyer John Sauer pointed to what he called birth tourism.
8 billion people are one plane ride away from having a child who's a U.S. citizen.
Chief Justice John Roberts asked,
Do you have any information about how common that is?
It's a great question.
Sauer said no one knows for sure. Even when it came to immigrants here illegally, the court's conservatives seemed skeptical of Sauer's arguments. Trump appointee Neil Gorsuch asked him,
Why wouldn't we, even if we were to apply your own test, come to the conclusion that the fact that someone might be illegal is immaterial?
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Other national stories KSL is following. The Artemis II mission launch window is just hours away from opening. The mission will send 4 astronauts farther into space than humans have ever traveled. ABC's Jim Ryan says the mission has attracted worldwide attention.
Nearly 500,000 people have filled hotel rooms and campgrounds on Florida's Space Coast, all of them intent on watching the launch of Artemis II firsthand. Countless others will download NASA's new app, Artemis Real-Time Orbit website, or ARROW. It'll show users exactly where the spacecraft is during its 10-day journey.
The launch is weather permitting, but NASA says that conditions are still favorable right now. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 254 points, about 0.5%, sitting at 46,592. S&P up by 42 points, and the NASDAQ up by 220 points, more than a full percent. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Here's Tito Nani.
Residual delays remain on southbound I-15, Utah County. It's all the way down in Santaquin, and it's due to a rollover accident from earlier. It's all cleared up, however, but expect congestion for the next half hour or so. Other than this, our major Wasatch Front freeways look to be in pretty good shape. Common Spirit, hospitals, clinics, and caregivers, all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Good chance of showers today and tomorrow, decreasing to a 30% chance by Friday, and just a beautiful Easter weekend ahead. Right now, 48 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Hi, everyone. It's Congressman Blake Moore here. Strong families are the bedrock of our communities. That's why I'm focused on bringing Utah's core values to Washington and advancing pro-family legislation. I helped permanently increase the child tax credit, create Trump accounts for children, and incentivize employers to provide better access to childcare, benefiting families and setting up our next generation for success. As the father of 4 boys, family is everything, and I am continuing to work on solutions to make raising a family in America more affordable. To learn more about what I am doing to advocate for you and your family in Congress, sign up for my weekly e-newsletter at blakemore.house.gov and follow along on social media at Rep. Blake Moore. If your family needs help navigating a federal agency or has questions about what I'm working on, please give my office a call at 801-625-0107. Happy to also help coordinate U.S. Capitol tours, take your comments, and provide legislative updates at any time. It's our honor to serve you and your families in Congress. Thank you. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Progressive knows life takes you in many directions.
Bear right at exit 32, then begin to wonder why you never bought a fish tank. In 1.3 miles, you'll realize you've been mispronouncing epitome your whole life. At the roundabout, you will remember you said something at dinner you wish you hadn't, and will think about it for decades. You have arrived at your destination, but it turns out there really is no destination, and life just keeps going.
Wherever life takes you, protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Not sure how to tackle your taxes? Are you sweating the small print? You may be experiencing FOMO, the fear of messing up. The answer? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. It's time to take your taxes to the max. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. After more than 50 years, a Utah cold case is now officially closed, with DNA confirming notorious killer Ted Bundy is responsible for the death of Laura Amy. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera is in Spanish Fork as the family got those answers today. And Eric, this really goes beyond just the investigation, right? This feels like it's about a family that's been living with this for decades.
Exactly, Maria. And that's what really stood out today. You know, this wasn't just a press conference. It was a room full of her family, right? Multiple generations finally hearing something they've waited more than 50 years for. And when you talk to Laura's younger sister, Michelle Impala, she doesn't just talk about the crime. She talks about who Laura was. She painted this picture of growing up on a farm in Fairview, riding horses, being outside, and just how close they were.
You know, we grew up on a farm in Fairview, just like lots of animals. My dad was really into animals, so we followed in his footsteps. You know, we had cats and dogs, and of course, you know, Laura had her cat, and Laura had her dog, and Laura had her horse, Arab, and she was really passionate about animals, and you know, she was fun. I really enjoyed being with her. You know, we spent a lot of time together. And then, of course, as she's getting older and in her teenage years, and she might have been a little rebellious, but, you know, she took me all over. We went to friends' houses and you know, we'd just ride our horses through town. In Fairview, you could ride everywhere back in those days. But, she was 6'1", and so she got a lot of attention, very pretty. Just fun to be around, We spent a lot of time together, and she cared a lot about all of us little sisters.
And Maria, that's what makes this hit differently, right? Because for years, the family says they believed it was Bundy. His pattern matched, everything lined up, but legally it was never fully closed until now. And hearing Michelle talk about what their family went through, you really understand how much this stayed with them.
The sheriff picked my dad up, and we all went on Thanksgiving morning, and then my sisters and I, my mom and my dad, my sisters and I went to stay with my aunt for Thanksgiving, have Thanksgiving dinner with them while my dad had to go. He wouldn't let my mom go in to identify her, but he made her stay out, and he went in and he looked at her and just said, "I can't tell." And he was going to leave when he remembered that she had been thrown off of her horse a few years earlier and had scars on her arm. And that's how he identified her, was through them scars, which is really sad. My dad was broken after that. He really was, Just seemed like a happier man before that.
Wow, Eric, so after hearing that, what did she say about what this moment means for them now?
Yeah, Michelle says in a lot of ways their family already believed this case was solved, right? But what today does for them is make it official. And she told me something powerful. She says, people sometimes think asking her to talk about Laura would be painful, but she made that known today that it's actually an honor to her because it means people still care and her sister isn't forgotten. Investigators also said today that this new DNA profile could help close other cases tied to Bundy. But for this family, this is finally about having a clear answer after more than half a century.
Oh, Eric, thanks so much. It's such an incredible story and just a long-awaited answer for the family. That is Eric Cabrera live from Spanish Fork. But what could this case mean as a whole and for other cold cases? The executive producer and host of the KSL podcast Cold joined Inside Sources to explain the background on this case and why it could have far-reaching effects.
The Laura and Amy case, to take you back, 1974, she disappeared on Halloween night. She had been hanging out with some friends. She left to go home or to, go to another place. She was hitchhiking in Utah County. That was the last time anybody saw her, was hitchhiking in American Fork. And then it was another few weeks around Thanksgiving time when a man and his girlfriend who were taking a hike in American Fork Canyon came across her body along the creek in American Fork Canyon. Now, at the time, there were numerous other missing women, girls who were believed to be the victim of a yet unidentified serial killer. We later learn, of course, that, this man is Ted Bundy, but there was no physical evidence at the time that linked Laura Amy to Ted Bundy. So for 50 plus years, it's been believed but not proven. The fact that they can now definitively prove that Laura Amy was killed by Ted Bundy is big because not only does the family get that finality to say we know for sure, but also there are other victims out there that there are still question marks. And so it provides, I think, some hope and some clarity for those of us in the public that, these cases don't go away just because they're old. People are still working them. New advancements in technology are there, and we can have big breakthroughs like this today.
Dave, I wanted to ask, and we did have a texter ask this question, are there then women in Utah who are suspected to be Ted Bundy victims? Are those still cold cases that could be impacted by today's news?
Certainly there are. So the two that come immediately to mind to me, the first woman that Ted is believed to have killed in Utah, Nancy Wilcox, her body has never been found. He did confess to killing her and gave directions, but that never led to a body. So hypothetically, if someday Nancy Wilcox's remains were located and you were able to collect DNA, now that's a long shot, but it is possible, you could use the DNA profile that we now have, as you heard them say in this press conference, in Utah for Ted Bundy to link that. Likewise, another victim, Sue Curtis. She was taken from the campus of BYU as Bundy was being led into the execution chamber in Florida in 1989. He said that he left Sue Curtis's body somewhere between Price and Green River. She has never been found. There may be others that we don't know about. So it's a big, big deal to have that DNA ability to match against any future victims that might be located.
Dave says in the last 50 years, there has been a ton of technological advancements when it comes to investigating cold cases. He says even in the last few years, things have gotten drastically better.
I will preface my answer, Craig, by saying I am not a DNA scientist, but what I can tell you generally is the ability for forensic experts to go in and use what in the past might be viewed as an unviable sample. So say something as it's too little, like there's not enough of the tissue or blood or whatever it is. Nowadays, they're able to use far smaller samples to be able to get those profiles. In the past, sometimes you might have had mixed profiles. So if you had more than one person's DNA in a sample, it might come back inconclusive. They're better able to distinguish using some of these tools. In the press conference, you heard them say this is technology that's really only been available since 2023. So in the last few years, even advancements appear to have been made. I'm hoping we'll get more detail about specifically what the items were that Utah County tested and what the technologies were that came into play. They did not give us those details in this press conference.
Dave Cawley is an investigative journalist and the host of the Cold podcast from KSL Podcasts. We'll continue to bring you updates on this case as we get them on air on the KSL News Radio app and at the KSLNewsRadio.com. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Every day here in Utah, people turn to KSL News Radio for one simple reason: trust. Trust for our reporters, hosts, our coverage, and trust in the businesses heard right here. I've met so many of our listeners over the years, and they'll tell you KSL is part of their daily routine, in the car, at work, at home. And when they hear your business here, it carries the weight of that trust. It isn't just another ad. It's a recommendation coming from a reliable source. When you advertise on KSL News Radio, you reach a loyal, highly engaged audience who listens intentionally. They show up for breaking news, accurate information, and meaningful conversations. And because of that connection, they respond. And when you pair our on-air credibility with digital tools like display advertising, social media, streaming audio, search, geo-targeting, and retargeting, you get a full funnel strategy that works and reaches the right people at the right time. Get marketing that truly moves the needle. Partner with the voice Utah trusts. KSL. Learn more at kslnewsradio.com/advertise.
The arguments have been made, and now we all sit and wait. Today, the U.S. Supreme Court heard oral arguments over the Trump administration's efforts to redefine how people born in this country become citizens. News Nation's Brooke Schaefer is outside the Supreme Court building in Washington, D.C. with more.
President Trump was sitting inside the gallery for about an hour of those oral arguments. We cannot overstate how unprecedented that is, that it's the first time that a sitting U.S. president has listened to oral arguments inside the Supreme Court. And of course, these arguments surround a key piece of the president's immigration agenda. So again, for those couple of hours, the justices really asked questions and sort of grilled the Solicitor General about the Trump administration's interpretation of the 14th Amendment surrounding birthright citizenship. The administration did face a little bit of skepticism from both conservative and liberal justices inside. Here's some of the back and forth that happened this morning.
I think it's, I quote what Justice Scalia said in his Hamdan dissent, where their interpretation has these implications that could not possibly have been approved by the 19th century framers of this amendment. I think that shows that they've made a mess. Their interpretation has made a mess of the provision.
Well, it certainly wasn't a problem in the 19th century.
No, but of course, we're in a new world now, as Justice Alito pointed out, where 8 billion people are one plane ride away from having a child who's a U.S. citizen.
Well, it's a new world. It's the same Constitution.
You're suggesting that the emphasis on domicile was not a part of the rule, meaning he wasn't saying you had to be like a foreigner who is doing everything they can and who can't be naturalized. But he might have emphasized those facts in this case precisely because Chinese immigrants were unwanted, precisely because he had to get this out into the public, and people were going to say, whoa, you're saying these people have to, this baby has to be a citizen? And so one could imagine that it was important from a standpoint of helping people accept this citizen rule under these circumstances to emphasize that these particular people in this case were in Justice Alito's first category.
I think that is very possible, Justice Jackson.
So the arguments today, they stem from President Trump's day one executive order restricting birthright citizenship. The president, he's argued that babies born to people in the U.S. illegally or temporarily should not automatically become U.S. citizens. With these oral arguments wrapped now, the justices will now consider whether that is constitutional. But that has faced a lot of criticism, including from groups who have been outside the court all morning. The plaintiffs in this case, they argue that the citizenship of millions could be called into question. And I spoke moments ago with a member of the ACLU who told me this is about human beings. They argue that anyone born in the United States is an American citizen. And of course, a very consequential day. A lot of eyes on the Supreme Court today. Oral arguments, again, have now wrapped. The justices will now consider whether or not the president's executive order is constitutional. They're expected to make that decision by the summer.
And that is News Nation's Brooke Schaefer reporting. We'll have an in-depth conversation on today's arguments and what's at stake depending on how the court rules coming up at 2 o'clock. March might be over, but we are still talking basketball, women's basketball, that is. After the break, we'll get a preview of a major championship game tonight for the BYU women's basketball team. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Here's Tito Nani.
We have a new accident in Davis County. It's on northbound Highway 89 in Layton, just before the South Weber Drive exit. It does have the right shoulder block, but it's not affecting traffic all that much. And residual delays remain on southbound I-15 in Santa Quin due to an earlier crash in the Spring Lake area. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
We finally realized something.
We wanted more time for family, faith, and service.
And less time giving every Saturday to the house.
Amen to that.
At Ovation Homes, active adults 55 plus can enjoy beautifully designed, low-maintenance homes in a welcoming community built for this season of life.
More peace, less upkeep.
Learn more about Ovation Homes' newest communities in West Point, Syracuse, and Layton. Visit ovationhomes.com. That's ovationhomes.com. Your best years start at Ovation Homes.
We finally realized something.
We wanted more time for family, faith, and service.
And less time giving every Saturday to the house.
At Ovation Homes, active adults 55 plus can enjoy beautifully designed, low-maintenance homes in a welcoming community built for this season of life.
More peace, less upkeep.
And more time for what matters most.
Learn more about Ovation Homes' newest communities in West Point, Syracuse, and Layton. Visit ovationhomes.com. That's ovationhomes.com. Your best years start at Ovation Homes.
You could file your taxes on a basic free service, which is fine. But are you okay with fine? Because when it's your money on the line, do you really want to guess if you missed a credit or hope the math is right? Get the confidence of TurboTax for free right on the Intuit Credit Karma app. Free Fed and free state for simple 1040s only. Around 37% of filers qualify. See details at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for EITC, CTC, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-290-7100. That's 800-290-7100.
Most financial advisors only manage your money. They refer you out for taxes. They refer you out for estate planning. They refer you out when things get complicated. Did they really vet that person? Or did they meet once, exchange business cards, and call it a partnership? A referral isn't accountability. It's a handoff. When your investments, taxes, and estate plan are built separately, gaps happen, and those can cost money. At Trajan, we didn't build a referral network. We built a family office for all. Wealth, tax, estate. One team delivering coordinated planning, once reserved for the ultra-wealthy. If you want real coordination and not just introductions, call Trajan Wealth today.
Call Trajan today at 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900. 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Do you know what you don't know about your truck bed? Well, at Jordan Camper, 7000 South State in Midvale, we can show you amazing options, functions, and truck bed uses you probably had no idea about. Let's start with drop-in or spray-in protective bed liners, providing an easy, cleanable space adapting to work requirements or for outdoor fun. Cover your truck bed with tonneau covers, stylish one-piece or soft vinyl, roll-up, hard folding, and retractable models. Jordan Camper features so many choices of fiberglass and aluminum durable truck tops for outdoor recreation storage, providing great workspace and security for those who rely on trucks for their professional needs. Jordan Camper is Utah's longest operated truck top and accessory shop. Our experienced, skilled technicians can install everything for you. Come into 7000 South State in Midvale and check us out. JordanCamper.com.
Emergency medical unit, respond to 102 Maple Avenue. Possible stroke victim.
When stroke occurs, you have 60 minutes to win or lose the race of your life. There are new treatments, but you must get to a hospital fast. If you suddenly feel weakness on one side, have trouble speaking, walking, or seeing, it could be a stroke. Call 911. Get to a hospital. Because how you spend the next 60 minutes could determine how you spend the rest of your life. Stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. A message from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The BYU women's basketball team continues to dominate the season, and they hope to make history in tonight's WBIT championship game. KSL's BYU insider Mitch Harper gives us a preview of the exciting game.
So BYU is going to play Columbia for the WBIT championship. So it's an opportunity for BYU to win a postseason title, something they've never done in the history of the program, and do it against an Ivy League program who's been playing some good basketball as of late. So it's a huge opportunity for BYU, and it's a chance for a young basketball team to have a moment where they can hang a banner and get some momentum heading into the offseason for next year.
What are they up against?
Columbia's good, and they might be deeper, maybe even more talented than BYU. I would say BYU is probably the underdog in this game. Columbia's beat 3 power conference teams in their path to this WBIT championship game, and Columbia's got a really balanced team. So BYU has to take care of the basketball. Turnovers have been an issue at times for BYU. Columbia is one of the best in the country in forcing steals. They're top 10 nationally. So that's going to be something to watch if BYU can take care of the basketball.
Okay, taking care of the basketball. What else do you see that they really need to do to win?
Their star player, Delaney Gibb, has to be excellent. And she's been fantastic for BYU in this postseason run. And I think that she's got to have a star performance in this game where she's scoring at least 20 points. But again, not having turnovers, that's been at times an issue for her in this season. And then also I would say too, when the game maybe is on the line, finding a way to, hold on, take the lead or hold on to it. Last time against Kansas in the semifinals, BYU had a 7-point lead and they nearly gave up that lead in a matter of seconds to Kansas due to turnovers and almost the pressure of trying to get a big win to advance. So if this game is close, as many would expect it to be, someone like a Delaney Gibbs got to be that steadying force for her team late in this one.
You mentioned that this is a young team. How unexpected is this for them to actually get to this final game?
It's very unexpected. This was a program the past 3 years where they had, losing records the past 3 seasons, had not been playing well. And even, about 2 months ago in February, BYU was, on a 3-game losing streak, getting blown out by double digits in those games, and just looked like they were on their way to another losing campaign, but they really turned it around. Now they've got a 26-win season, and many of these players could be back next year. Obviously, in the transfer portal era, you can't assume that's going to be the case, but if, this is a team that likes to, work together, and it's a good locker room, it's good teammates. So they're building some chemistry here, and if they could get this win, I just think that sends a lot of good vibes into the offseason that, hey, you can maybe turn this into NCAA tournament success potentially next year. And I think this would be a really exclamation mark to what's been an excellent season this in year one under head coach Lee Cummard.
Okay. Anything you'd like to add?
I would just say that, Lee Cummard probably has been one of the more impressive stories for BYU women's basketball in its history. He's stayed with the program for years as an assistant coach under Jeff Judkins, and then Amber Whiting. He even stayed on when he didn't get the job, yet he gets his opportunity to get the head coaching position. He's taken off and ran with it and done a really good job to where, BYU women's basketball feels like they could, become a national player potentially. And this would be a moment to, if they can win, to give them some real momentum, a successful, championship momentum that they haven't really experienced much as a program.
The BYU women's basketball team takes on the number 4 ranked Columbia Lions at 5 o'clock tonight in the WBIT Championship. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour: a freeze watch for tomorrow night along the northern Wasatch Front just issued a short time ago. The balance between freedom and fear. Will take a deep dive into the issue of immigration in Utah. And KSL traffic, Tito.
Despite the wet roads, our major valley freeways are traveling at good speeds halfway through the 1 o'clock hour. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
And the wet roads continue. We have the still
ABC
rain.
News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The partial government shutdown closing in on 50 days long could soon be over. In a joint statement, Speaker Mike Johnson and Leader John Thune announcing the GOP-controlled Congress, quote, in the coming days will fully fund Homeland Security through both the appropriations process and reconciliation. Last week, the House initially rejected a Senate-passed bill to fund DHS, except for ICE and some parts of Border Patrol, and then tried to pass a short-term measure that failed. In Florida, the launch window for the Artemis II moon mission now less than 3 hours away. The 4 astronauts already at the launch pad. ABC's Gio Benitez is at Kennedy Space Center.
I've always asked astronauts, what is it that you're feeling right before you lift off, especially during that final countdown? And they say it's total relaxation because they are just sitting there and waiting for this moment that they've been preparing for so long. In this case, this has been years in the making.
The crew will orbit the moon and back on a 10-day test flight. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. We're finally getting some much-needed rain along the Wasatch Front, but unfortunately, it's not going to provide much relief to our water supply following our driest winter on record.
KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson tells me while this rain is going to help us in some ways, the time to add to our snowpack and in turn our water supply has pretty well come and gone.
It's not going to make a huge dent in the massive damage that's been done over the month of March.
Matt says this rain is going to have a much bigger impact on the drought and wildfires. He says if we get enough rain between now and the end of May, we could actually reverse some of the negative effects of the early start to spring runoff, like hold off further drought progression and the start of wildfire season.
In theory, we would stave off fire season to June, which is more normal.
Matt says when it comes to this year, a lot of rain between now and May might even be more important than having a good monsoon season this summer. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Other local stories KSL is following. Warehouse purchases for use as immigration detention facilities are now on pause as the new Homeland Security Secretary reviews its policy plans. Under former DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, the agency was planning to increase the number of beds at detention centers across the country to 92,000. But now DHS says that as with any transition, they're reviewing agency policies and proposals. Salt Lake City leaders say they are currently asking what that means for the warehouse here in Utah. The purchase was already completed last month. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 287 points, sitting at 46,628. S&P up by 54 points. The NASDAQ up by 1.25%, up 268 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. Tito?
Real good speeds throughout the Wasatch Front. No accidents or delays to report on I-15, 215, and I-80. Looks like the biggest trouble spot may be down in Utah County. It's some slight congestion going east and westbound on Pioneer Crossing in Lehigh. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
You can expect rain showers through this evening into tomorrow. 100% chance tomorrow, decreasing on Friday to a 30% chance. Today's high 59, right now 49 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The National Weather Service has issued a freeze watch for tomorrow night and into Friday morning. It will affect most of the northern Wasatch Front, including the Salt Lake Valley. With sub-freezing temperatures on the way, we could see some damage to early blooming crops and gardens, especially given our hot temperatures so far this spring. You have to admit, after a quiet, boring winter, it's nice to get a little bit of moisture, especially just before spring planting really begins. But is the water we are getting now and over the next few days going to make up for our lackluster winter?
You know, we've already started the great melt, if you will. And, we'll get a foot or two, maybe even 3 in spots at the highest peaks with this little storm cycle. But we quickly shoot right back up to the 70s in the valley early next week. But it is going to add moisture, right, to our rivers and streams and eventually down into our reservoirs. But it's not going to make a huge dent in the massive damage that's been done over the month of March.
KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says we're still not in a good place, but at this point, anything helps.
Pretty much just a drop in the bucket, but anything helps at this stage in the game. One thing that we are going to see that's going to help quite a bit is the rain in the valleys, right? It's going to replenish that soil moisture, the aquifers. It's also going to help out, staving off fire season and, of course, with the drought. So if we can keep these small storms going once every week or once every week and a half, it's reasonable. It's spring. March, April, May is actually, on average, Salt Lake City's wettest months of the year. It's just that March was such a disaster that the expectation level's so low and we're so abnormal as far as precip's concerned. But it is possible and it is normal to get a storm every week or so this time of year. It's just, can we do it?
Matt tells KSL News Radio's Adam Small that the current storm has been pretty good, and we're set to see a few storms over the next week.
Rain total-wise across the Wasatch Front, this has been a nice strength for us here, not only in northern, but also central and southern Utah. Statewide, about a 1/4 inch to 1 inch of water so far. But the great news is we have another storm headed in that does look a little bit colder to add to a little bit of temporary snowpack, if you will, by tomorrow afternoon. And Yeah, I mean, silver lining, the bar is set low, so we get excited about nothing at this point. But, coming off a 25-day dry stretch, this is much, much welcome news.
Matt says the snow that's on the way isn't great skiing snow, but it will be good for our snowpack because of its high water content. He says when it comes to this year, a lot of rain between now and May might even be more important than having a good monsoon season this summer. The 1st of April isn't just April Fool's Day. It's also Start by Believing Day, a national event that kicks off National Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month. Dr. Julie Valentine is a researcher, professor, forensic nurse, and the director of the Start by Believing campaign in Utah.
11 years ago, Utah made a commitment to change the way we respond when someone finds the courage to share that they have experienced violence or abuse. A commitment to listen, a commitment to respond with compassion, and a commitment to believe. Today, we are here to honor that commitment and to strengthen it, because Start by Believing is both simple and profound. It asks something very basic of all of us. When someone discloses abuse, sexual assault, intimate partner violence, or child abuse, we respond first with belief. I believe you. What can I do to help? Those words have the power to change a life. They can be the difference between silence and healing, between isolation and support, between continued harm and the beginning of justice.
Dr. Valentine says there's been a lot of progress over the last 11 years since Utah began observing Start by Believing Day, but
our work is not done. We continue to see in headlines and in our own communities what happens when survivors are not believed. From nationally recognized cases involving Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, Larry Nassar, and many others, to the devastating murder of Lauren McCluskey here in Utah, we are reminded that disbelief, dismissal, and inaction carry real, lasting, and tragic consequences. That is why today matters.
House Minority Leader Angela Romero sponsored the original legislation to get this day recognized and says she's continued to push for bills that support survivors since then because she sees how important it is. That includes legislation this past session that means police can no longer require victims to undergo a lie detector test.
We've heard that in Utah, sexual assault is higher than the national average. I've talked to Chief Red, Salt Lake Police Department, and others, and they said sexual assault, rape is being reported at higher numbers. And do I think there's more rape happening? No, I think it's always happened. But because of all our work with people here in the room, people are starting to report. People are starting to speak out. People are starting to seek help. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for making my job easy. But as Dr. Valentine pointed out, it's not over yet.
Romero says she's committed to keep pushing more legislation to help survivors and notes it's an issue that routinely gets bipartisan support. Miss Nebo, Erica Dalton, revealed that she is a survivor at today's event. She says if 1 in 3 women, 1 in 6 men, and 1 in 7 children will experience sexual violence in their lifetime, that means all of us have a part to play in helping them heal.
Because of this data, I can confidently say that regardless of who you are, what you do, or whether you choose to share a photo of your pledge on Facebook or on TikTok, I can guarantee that there is a survivor, past, present, or future, who needs to know that they can come to you. There's someone in your life who needs to hear the words, I believe you.
April is National Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month, and today is Start by Believing Day. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolate spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Looking for something fun to win this week? Head to KSL.com/win and enter now. We're giving you the chance to score tickets to the Disney Worlds Collide concert tour, rock out at the Guess Who tour, or visit Titanic the exhibition for a walk through history. It's quick, easy, and free to enter. So don't miss out. Visit KSL.com/win today and see what you could be winning this week. KSL.com/win. Good luck.
My name is Tom.
My name is Cindy.
We give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
We know our time and money are going to the right places.
We don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I volunteer with United Way to help the homeless in my community learn computer skills and build a basic resume. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Can we talk about something difficult to discuss? Are you going through a difficult financial time? You have equity in your home, but nobody can help? American Home Loans has created the Bridge Loan Program to use your equity regardless of your credit at this time. The Bridge Loan can be used to pay debts, collections, IRS liens, divorce settlements, or home improvements. Call at 801-262-2221. That's 262-2221. This loan creates a bridge between now and a much brighter future. After COVID, one of their clients had over $85,000 in credit cards. Their scores were too low to borrow on their home. American Home Loans was able to save them $2,000 a month. And after 8 months, they qualified for a conventional loan and lowered their payments. The consultation is free and confidential. Please call them and see what they can do for you. The number is 801-262-2221. It's 262-2221, or go to AmericanHomeLoans.com. AmericanHomeLoans.com. NMLS 245422, Equal Housing Lender.
The topic of immigration has been a hot one over the past decade or so. Many see the immigration policies under President Biden as being way too lax, and many also say the policies under President Trump are way too harsh. It's brought up a lot of questions and discussions on the need for humanity while also supporting legal immigration and the laws of this country. But while it might sound like a black and white issue, it's a lot more complicated. This weekend, KSL News Radio will air a special hour-long presentation on immigration in Utah, finding balance between fear and freedom. Our Inside Sources team has been digging into this, and host Holly Richardson joins me now for a conversation about their special. So, Holly, tell us more about the motivation for this deep dive and what's come from your discussions.
Well, really, it's what you just said, and that is, this is a complicated issue. And one of the things that I have heard over and over is people saying, well, I support people who come here legally, who do it the right way. But even that isn't clear anymore.
So let's talk about this idea that people should just immigrate the right way. We have a clip from your special that I want to play. This is from immigration attorney Carlos Trujillo.
So people get caught up on this, do it the right way, and they don't understand that there is a law to do all these things. People just think that, oh, wait a second, the person just needs to be in their home country and apply for something that magically will open a golden door into the United States. No, that's not reality. There is need for reform. We need a new immigration law. But until that happens, at the very least, can we at least respect those processes that already exist?
So tell us more about your conversations with him.
So Carlos is actually somebody who came here as an immigrant as well. He came from Venezuela. He's now a U.S. citizen and he works in immigration law. But one of the things that he said is sometimes we have such a misunderstanding about what the legal process looks like, is that there are people right now going through the legal process, doing things the right way, who have a court date in 2031. And that is like, you can tell just by talking about that the system is really broken, but they're still trying to do things according to the system. Excuse me. We also talked with Riverton City Councilman Andy Perucci, and he said, first of all, he made it clear he's speaking on his own, but he also said, look, we have to also look at what does it mean when it impacts our communities when you have a large influx of people coming in. And we asked him point blank, do you think we need to revisit the Utah Compact on Immigration, which was something that was talked about and signed 15 years ago? And he said, yeah, I think it is time to revisit that. So there has to be some kind of balance here. We also talked with Senator Luz Escamilla, and she said that there are people within her community that are living in fear. Some of them haven't left their home in weeks, if not months, because they're afraid just doing their everyday activities in their community that maybe they're going to be swept up by ICE.
Let me go back for just a second to the Utah Compact. Could you just tell our listeners a little bit more about what that is?
Yeah, the Utah Compact was something that in 2011, the very end of 2010, business leaders, religious leaders, legislative leaders came together and they said, look, we've got this issue with immigration. The federal government's not doing anything. We know there are some things that are broken. We want to be respectful of the business community needs. We want to be respectful of the rule of law. So here are some things that we propose. We want to see that there's a system that allows people to come here, and we will track them as a state since the federal government says they're not going to get involved. Basically, it was a humane way to say we want people in our state. We're going to welcome them. We're going to let them be part of our community in a way that's above board and open. And we actually passed a bill in 2011, and then the federal government had to sign off on it. It never did, and so it never went into effect. But it really is a fundamental baseline of saying we're going to treat everybody with as humans with respect, and we need to acknowledge the value that immigrants bring to our community. And it is high, and I don't just mean culturally, I mean economically. They benefit our state.
Holly, when through these conversations, were the people that you talked to, were they at least a bit optimistic that things could change and we could do both, have it be more fair and humane?
That's a really good question. I know that Andy Perucci said, look, we need to be able to enforce the law, but we also need to treat people humanely. The other two that we talked to were like, we're really worried. We're really afraid with the rhetoric that is being expressed both nationally and locally that people are being harmed in very real ways. So, yeah, there is hope, but there also is a significant level of fear.
Okay. Anything else that you want folks to know? Any other takeaways from your conversations?
Look, I think one of the things that's really important for listeners to know is that there's not just one side on this issue. It's important to talk to people on all sides and try to gain an understanding about what's actually happening. It's really easy to lump one side or the other into a single category, and it's much more complex than that.
Very interested to hear your conversations. Thank you so much, Holly. Immigration in Utah, Finding Balance Between Fear and Freedom. It airs this Saturday at noon, right after the Saturday morning session of General Conference ends. It'll also be up on our website as a podcast, and with an article, you can just go to kslnewsradio.com Saturday afternoon. Goal soccer fans in Utah getting a unique treat today. The FIFA World Cup trophy making a stop here in the state. We'll give you the details coming up after the break. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Tito?
Looks like we have some slight congestion on southbound I-15 in Davis County. Looks to be just before Park Lane in Farmington. Down south in Santaquin, we're seeing some residual delays from an earlier accident on northbound I-15 in the Spring Lake area. Other than this, our roads look to be in great shape. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Taxes was waiting on the refund you needed yesterday.
All right, your car repair is going to run about $3,000.
Ugh. Now Taxes is getting back on the road with TurboTax and Credit Karma, where you can get your refund up to 5 days faster and get personalized guidance to take every dollar further. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Deposit of federal refund into Credit Karma Money account and early submission of refund data by IRS required. Terms apply. Banking services provided by MVB Bank, Inc. Member FDIC. Credit Karma is not a bank.
Progressive knows you think the grass is always greener. Like maybe you ride a motorcycle. But today, it's raining. So you wish you had an RV. But if you did, you'd have to listen to some guy parked next to it at a campsite plays acoustic guitar. Now, before you start wishing you had a boat, remember, your brother-in-law would invite himself every weekend.
Permission to come aboard, Captain?
But one thing that is greener is the money you could save when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
This week's movie show brought to you by Sound Sleep. Get a free sleep screening and a free sleep consultation by tuning in on Friday morning. Sound Sleep with 7 locations in Utah.
Kitchen and bath transformations start with AMC Building Materials. AMC Building Materials is a large kitchen cabinet and countertop supplier serving both wholesale and retail customers. AMC offers factory direct pricing on all interior remodeling materials, giving you exceptional value without sacrificing quality. Most standard items are available for quick payment and pickup right away. AMC Building Materials provides professional service, free design, and free on-site measurements, along with expert installation by top AMC professionals. From bold kitchen designs to beautiful functional bathrooms, AMC delivers outstanding value with styles you'll love. And best of all, most projects can be completed within just 10 days. Come experience beauty you can see, quality you can feel, and service you can trust. Get directions to the new AMC Building Materials showroom at 3678 South 700 West today and schedule your free estimate. Visit amckitchenslc.org. That's amckitchenslc.org.
Amanda, every business needs IT help, and sometimes you've got that guy who already works for your company who knows how to do this stuff, but sometimes you don't, or the guy who knows the IT stuff, that's not his actual job.
Right. So Les Olson IT they can be your 24/7 help desk. They can support your existing help desk. They can do advanced cybersecurity protection. Maybe just come and take a look. Are you subject to phishing or ransomware or other things? What are the cyber threats you're facing?
And you've got to make sure that your data is secure, so both cloud and data backup solutions, they can help you with that. Plus, everybody's got to use a computer. That's where hardware comes in, infrastructure support. You don't have to know all this stuff because Les Olson IT knows it.
And most of the time, they can help you fix whatever's going wrong remotely, just off your computer. Plus, of course, they have copiers and printers. They always will at the very best price.
Les Olson IT is your trusted local IT partner. They've been in business for 70 years, and they've got 9 locations from Logan to Las Vegas.
Find out more at lesolson.com.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
I think my biggest challenge was getting through to him to understand that love is real and you have goals in mind, you have things that want to happen, and I want to help you get there.
Sometimes people tend to shy away from wanting to adopt teenagers because they feel like they've lost so much, but there's still so much to gain.
Just knowing that there's just that other person that cares and loves me out there, it feels great. And they've done so much for me, and I can only be appreciative every single day for just having them in my life.
I think it's been the best decision because I gained a son, and he's the best son ever. If I was down and out, he'd be there.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Soccer fans are getting a unique treat today, and it's not an April Fool's prank. The FIFA World Cup original trophy is here.
We have this opportunity to have this iconic trophy here with us today.
That, of course, is Governor Spencer Cox at the unveiling today. The World Cup trophy is on tour courtesy of Coca-Cola ahead of the FIFA World Cup 2026, which is going to be spread out across Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Governor Cox says it's a great start to the next 8 years for the world, for North America, and for Utah.
This World Cup coming to the United States is something that many of us have been looking forward to for a long, long time. It is also the beginning of an incredible 8-year run for our country. We're so excited that we kick things off with a world-class event, the world coming to see the most popular sport in the world, that the United States will be playing such a major role in that this year. And of course, then we have the Olympics coming to Los Angeles in a couple years in 2028, and we'll finish off that iconic run here in Utah with the Winter Olympics in 2034. Utah is a state of sport. We host as many world-class events as any state in the country. Again, most of them winter, but certainly not all of them. And this is a cool opportunity for Utahns to participate in something that means so much to our friends around the world. As somebody who lived in Mexico for a couple of years, I can tell you that our friends to the south love this sport immensely as well. And sport is about unifying. That's what we love most about it. We know in sport, it doesn't matter what your politics are, it doesn't matter what your religion is, it doesn't matter what your race is, it's all about the competition. And we saw that, of course, with the Winter Olympics that just finished in Italy. We saw the best of humanity coming together, and we're about to see that again.
The conversation wasn't just about World Cup soccer or even the FIFA trophy. Again, Coke sponsored the tour.
I just have to give you a quick aside. I was in the Oval Office not long ago with President Trump. Many of you may know this. He has a red button on his desk. And that red button is not a button that launches nuclear warheads, I assure you. It's a red button that brings him a Diet Coke, the perfectly chilled, ice-cold Diet Coke anytime he wants it. And during our discussion, it came up that I mentioned to him that in Utah, this is true, we drink more Diet Coke per capita than anywhere else in the world. And he said, he hit the button, he said, "I got you." And he brought me out my own ice-cold Diet Coke.
The original FIFA World Cup trophy was on display today at the Utah State Capitol. It's made of solid gold, 18 carats for those of you who need details, and it can only be touched by world leaders and, of course, the people who win the trophy. In the next hour of Midday, we're going to take a look back at the economy over the past year. Tomorrow is the one-year anniversary of President Trump's Liberation Day, so we'll have a discussion on how the tariffs have affected the economy and the average American family. So you want to stay with us for more on that discussion right here on KSL News Radio.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The argument's been made, and now we all sit and wait. Today, the U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments on the legality and constitutionality of birthright citizenship. The future of the 14th Amendment now facing a giant question mark.
What's going to count is the actual text of the 14th Amendment and the history of the 14th Amendment. What exactly was meant by the specific language?
The time is 2 o'clock on Wednesday, April 1st. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we're taking a deep dive into the arguments, what President Trump is asking for, and why the justices might not be on board with the administration's plans. Also this hour, we're continuing to track the launch of Artemis 2, which is now just a few hours away.
NASA says the launch conditions are still favorable.
We will chat with a space expert about the mission coming up at 2:45. But first, our top stories. New DNA evidence confirmed Ted Bundy to be the killer of a teenager from American Fork nearly 50 years after her death. The news finally giving Laura Amy's family long-awaited answers and closure will continue to bring you the latest. Our top national story from ABC News. The 4-person Artemis 2 crew is preparing for launch on the first crewed flight to the moon in almost 50 years. The crew now waiting for the go, no-go command for this evening's liftoff.
At some point before this launch, there is going to be what they call the final go or no-go, and that's when the launch control will actually say go. And that is where they take a poll of everyone in the room, and they will each say go or no go. That poll is extremely important in deciding whether this is a launch that's happening today. But so far, the weather, fingers crossed, is holding up.
ABC's Gio Benitez reporting from the Kennedy Space Center. Taking a look at your money at this moment. At the close, the Dow up by nearly 0.5%, up 224 points to end at 46,565. S&P up by 46 points. The NASDAQ up more than a full percent, up 250 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. What's happening, Tito?
We have a crash on southbound I-15 in Farmington. It's right before Shepherd Lane. It has the two right lanes as well as the shoulder blocked, and it's causing congestion back towards Burton Lane. Also, another accident on the other side of the freeway, northbound I-15, just south of the Kaysville rest area. This has the right lane and shoulder blocked. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Expect the rain showers to continue through tomorrow, decreasing on Friday to about 30%. Then it looks like a great Easter weekend. The high on Saturday, 58. A lot of sunshine both Saturday and Sunday. The high on Sunday, 65. Right now, 48 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Right now, water heaters are on sale at Any Hour Services. Schedule a free estimate today to see how much you'll save. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Let's retrofit and renovate old buildings before it's too late. 45 water pipes and power lines to keep things flowing and get back online. EIGONE. Let's work together to get ready. We don't have to be scared. Visit earthquakes.utah.gov to prepare.
Brought to you by Envision Utah.
Only one type of burger. For every pallet. Fries are extra. Large in size. We've got the shakes. Going over the brim.
Hey, this is Chris from JCW's. Put a positive, delicious spin on your day at any one of our 5 locations. In Lehigh, American Fork, Provo, South Jordan, or Harriman. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Protests outside the U.S. Supreme Court today as the High Court heard arguments on the future of birthright citizenship in the country. The court now deciding whether or not President Trump's executive order to cancel birthright citizenship is legal. The case comes down to an interpretation of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, which granted citizenship to children born in the U.S. It's been the legal precedent for generations, but that all might change. Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We begin this hour with a special deep dive into the arguments today and what the future of citizenship could look like depending on how the Supreme Court rules. Let's start with some sound from the arguments themselves. Here, Chief Justice John Roberts asked Solicitor General D. John Sauer about whether there are concerning instances of birth tourism and whether the 14th Amendment should be reinterpreted because of it.
Their interpretation has these implications that could not possibly have been approved by the 19th century framers of this amendment. I think that shows that they've made a mess. Their interpretation has made a mess of the provision.
Well, it certainly wasn't a problem in the 19th century.
No, but of course, we're in a new world now, as Justice Alito pointed out to, where 8 billion people are one plane ride away from having a child who's a U.S. citizen.
Well, it's a new world. It's the same Constitution.
Justice Neil Gorsuch also challenging the Solicitor General on what lawmakers back in the 1800s debated regarding Native Americans and whether they qualify as citizens at birth.
Do you think Native Americans today are birthright citizens under your test and under your friend's test?
I think so. I mean, obviously, they've been granted citizenship by statute.
Put aside the statute. Do you think they're birthright citizens?
No, I think the clear understanding that everybody agrees in the congressional debates is that the children of tribal Indians are not birthright citizens.
I understand that's what they said, but your test is the domicile of the parents, and that would be the test you'd have us apply today, right?
Of note, Native Americans were granted citizenship under a different U.S. law in the 1920s. Justice Elena Kagan appeared to have broader issues with the claims from the government, saying the argument itself isn't actually focused on undocumented immigrants.
Most of your brief is not about illegal aliens. Most of your brief is about people who are just temporarily in the country, where there was quite clearly an experience of, an understanding of, that there were going to be temporary inhabitants. And your whole theory of the case is built on that group. You don't get to talking about undocumented persons until quite later and at much lesser, I think it's like 10 pages to 3 pages or something like that.
Let's go more in depth on the hearing and the future of birthright citizenship with Anthony Peacock, a political science professor and the director of the Center for American Constitutionalism at Utah State University. And I asked him to give some perspectives on today's arguments.
I saw some of the arguments as they were represented on different websites, and it seems like there's, as there is with all of these arguments, depending on what attorney is making the argument, you get different takes on what the justices are presumably the positions they're presumably going to take on the issues. Initially, it looked like they were being quite critical of President Trump's position and Solicitor General Sawyer's arguments. But then when the other side was arguing its case, it appeared from some of the commentary that the justices, I think particularly the conservative justices, were taking the ACLU and others opposed to President Trump the issue as well. So it's really hard, I think, to try to figure out what the court will do in this case, what the disposition of the court will be, because they do, as many good justices do, they scrutinize the arguments on each side of the issue. So it'll be interesting to see what the court does with this, and I suspect we will not get a decision from the court until sometime in June.
This case was different in that President Trump decided that he was going to attend. Now, I don't believe there's ever been a case where a president has attended a Supreme Court hearing like this.
No, I think you're right about that. I don't think there ever has been. And what I saw was that he left after the government's position was presented sometime shortly after 11 Eastern time.
With the separation of the government, of the different levels of government, is it a problem for a president to attend a hearing like this? Does it help sway the justices in any way?
Yeah, that's been one of the concerns, I think, that's been expressed by some of the critics of President Trump attending. But I don't think it will be decisive in terms of the outcome of the case. It may have added some pressure to some of the justices. But I think the justices are pretty much focused on the merits of the argument, and I don't think it will be determinative in the end. Describe for us what you believe are the implications of this case, whether it's determined either way. Well, I think it's going to have a significant effect. If, in fact, the court rules for the president, it will have a significant effect, obviously, on the citizenship question and birthright citizenship. And I guess one of the issues that the court would have to look at is what would be the effect on those who have already been granted citizenship on the basis of being born in the U.S., even if they were born to people here who as a result of the decision, would not necessarily get citizenship. In other words, if they already have citizenship, what do you do with those people? That's going to be one of the issues. But I think the court's going to have to work that out in the decision itself, depending on where it goes.
But wouldn't this impact all of any woman who gave birth? Because wouldn't they have to show that they were actually American citizens when they were getting a birth certificate for their child?
Yeah, you would think that might be the requirement. But again, I don't know what the court would require with respect to that. I think that if they rule that you have to be a legal immigrant here or a permanent resident, if you're a permanent resident, I think you're fine given what was raised in the briefs. And you may have to show that sort of documentation, and that could be a problem. But that's, again, something that the court will have to clarify in whatever ruling it gives in June or whenever it decides the case.
Could you describe the difference between birthright citizenship and blood citizenship and how we are different from other countries?
Well, I think the key issue here is the meaning that there is a clause in the 14th Amendment, that is at issue here that says, subject to the jurisdiction of the U.S. Or thereof. And that's going to be the key thing. And I think that what the framers of the 14th Amendment, from the government's point of view, the framers of the 14th Amendment were concerned about those who may be here or may not be subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, in particular Native Americans who were subject to the laws of their tribe or their, the land on which they live. And that was reflected, from my understanding of the arguments, in the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which tried to capture that same issue. People who are here that are not subject to the laws of the U.S. and are rather subject to the laws of a foreign power.
How are we different from other countries when it comes to citizenship?
Well, some countries allow for the same thing. They also allow for birthright citizenship, but there have been many who have pointed out that the vast majority of countries on the planet do not allow for birthright citizenship. That the parentage is what is crucial. If your parents are citizens of the country or in the country legally, then you are allowed to become a citizen of that country. If they're not, then you're not allowed to become a citizen of that country. And that's, there's been much made of that. But again, that's going to be, to a large extent, that's irrelevant. What's going to count is the actual text of the 14th Amendment and the history of the 14th Amendment. What exactly was meant by the specific language in the 14th Amendment that applies to birthright citizenship and, the clause that I just mentioned about being subject to the jurisdiction.
Right. Professor, anything else that's important to note about this case?
I think the consequences of it, if the court rules in favor of the federal government or President Trump, will be significant. But if nothing else, the issue hasn't been revisited by the court for many decades, and I think it will at least give some clarification to those who have wondered about the meaning of the citizenship provisions in the 14th Amendment.
Anthony Peacock is a professor of political science and the director of the Center for American Constitutionalism at Utah State University. We'll continue to watch the developments of this case and bring you updates on air, online, and on the free KSL News Radio app. After the break, we're coming up on the one-year anniversary of President Trump's Liberation Day. We'll break down the economic impact, both the good and the bad, of the tariffs we've dealt with over the past year. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. Tito?
We're dealing with two accidents, and they're both in Davis County, directly across from one another. The first is on southbound I-15 in Farmington. It's right before Shepherd Lane. It has right two lanes as well as the shoulder block, and it's causing congestion back towards 2nd North in Kaysville. The second is on northbound I-15, just south of the Kaysville rest area. This has the right lane and shoulder blocked and is causing delays back towards Park Lane. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
We finally realized something.
We wanted more time for family, faith, and service.
And less time giving every Saturday to the house.
Amen to that.
At Ovation Homes, active adults 55 plus can enjoy beautifully designed, low-maintenance homes in a welcoming community built for this season of life.
More peace, less upkeep.
Learn more about Ovation Homes' newest communities in West Point, Syracuse, and Layton. Visit ovationhomes.com. That's ovationhomes.com. Your best years start at Ovation Homes.
We decided to downsize.
Less to manage.
Fewer stairs.
More friends.
Ovation Homes. Downsize the stairs, upsize the lifestyle. Your best years start at Ovation Homes. To learn more about your next home, find a community, or speak to an Ovation specialist, visit ovationhomesutah.com. That's ovationhomesutah.com. Your best years start at Ovation Homes.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother. A necklace tucked away in a drawer. Pieces full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jeweler specializes in reimagining family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Duke's on-site jewelers and designers work with you one-on-one to honor the original story while creating something fresh, modern, and uniquely yours. From resetting diamonds into new engagement rings to transforming multiple heirloom pieces into one stunning design, every project is crafted with care, precision, and intention. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, where old stories become new treasures. dukesjewelers.com.
If you've saved more than $300,000, there's one thing you can do now that can make your savings go twice as far in retirement, and it's tax planning. That's right. Tax planning could significantly reduce the taxes on your IRA and 401k withdrawals, Social Security benefits, and other investment income. Find out how much money you could save with a free retirement tax savings analysis from the good people at Boss Retirement Solutions. To schedule your free analysis, call 801-896-9622. Tax planning for retirement could reduce your taxes not just for 1 year, but for the rest of your life. And the savings could be six figures. Let's find out how much money you could save. Call 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622.
For informational purposes only, actual results may vary. No statement contained herein shall constitute tax, legal, or investment advice. Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore, and every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Thinking about starting weight loss treatment? GoodRx is here to help. We offer FDA-approved GLP-1 medications prescribed by licensed providers, including the Wegovy tablet, with straightforward pricing and pickup at your local pharmacy or delivery to your door. All from America's #1 prescription app. Go to goodrx.com/weight-loss to get started. GoodRx is not insurance. Cancel anytime. #1 prescription app ranked by a third-party study.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
President Trump is set to address the nation tonight on the ongoing war with Iran. News Nation's Hannah Brandt has more from Washington.
The White House has said tonight's address will be an important update on Iran, but they haven't really been more specific than that. And this comes after President Trump seemed to kind of shift his timeline for this war to end. Also, for the first time, saying he would be willing for it to wrap up without a peace deal with Iran. This all happened while he was speaking with reporters in the Oval Office on Tuesday, where the president repeatedly said the war could be over within a couple of weeks, telling News Nation a peace deal isn't necessary to end the fighting.
Does Iran have to make a deal for the U.S. to end its operation in Iran? And have you spoken, and have you spoken directly?
Iran doesn't have to make a deal, no.
Those comments coming after the president told allies they'll soon be on their own with the Strait of Hormuz, saying you'll have to start learning how to fight for yourself. The USA won't be there to help you anymore. And when asked by the New York Post about reopening the strait, the president said his sole function in Iran is to ensure they don't get a nuclear weapon. So a lot of eyes are going to be on the president tonight to see whether he announces an end to this conflict and how he lays out what that would look like. But it does come just days after the U.S. sent more troops to the region and amid reports that the Pentagon was planning for a potential ground invasion. Now, Iran, on the other hand, has pledged to continue fighting, with the country's president saying he wants guarantees that the U.S. and Israel won't restart the conflict once it ends.
And that is News Nation's Hannah Brandt reporting. President is expected to speak at 7 o'clock our time. We'll carry it live here on air at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the KSL News Radio app. We are coming up on the one-year anniversary of President Trump's so-called Liberation Day, which is when the president instituted a slew of tariff orders on countries all around the world. The Supreme Court recently pushed back on his moves, but tariffs still exist in other forms. Ahead of tomorrow's anniversary, I spoke with Michael Nagone, a senior fellow for economic opportunity at the Center for American Progress, to get a pulse check on how the economy has performed over the last year and its effect on American families' wallets.
Well, I think what we've seen is families have paid more, job growth has slowed, economic growth has slowed, and we've seen actual manufacturing job losses, despite the fact that the president framed this as somehow leading to a domestic manufacturing renaissance. What we've seen in terms of specific numbers is that your typical American families paid about $1,700 more due to the tariffs over the course of the past year. That's based on Senate estimates from a Senate Economic Committee. We've seen about a loss of 89,000 manufacturing jobs since right before his Liberation Day. We've seen the rate of hiring just in the recent data from the Labor Department over the course of this past week. The hiring rate has fallen to the lowest level it's been at since April of 2020, and 2025 was the worst year for job creation since 2003 outside of a recession. So the only years that are worse than 2025 were like, the Great Recession in 2008 or the COVID recession in 2020. So we've seen a lot of indications of slowdown, and it didn't have to be that way, right? These tariffs have had such a big impact, and they've not delivered what he had expected to deliver.
So what do you say to the argument that we had to have some short-term pain for long-term gain? Do you see the tariffs as having any potential for long-term gain?
There are certainly no signs of long-term gain. In fact, there's studies that just find generally that tariffs tend to slow down economic growth because they impose higher costs. And so, there's a world where tariffs can be part of a good strategy to support specific industries, but that's not what this is, right? What we've seen in the past, for example, a few years ago, under the previous administration, there was a targeted effort to increase, to strengthen the domestic electric vehicle industry in the United States, and that was in part driven by incentives for people to buy those cars, cash on the hood type tax incentives, investments in infrastructure to charge the vehicles, and then tariffs on these super cheap Chinese electric vehicles so that they wouldn't come in and cannibalize our market. But that's a targeted strategy. That's not what the president has done. The president has done this blanket across-the-board strategy of tariffs on every country and on virtually every product. And so what you have is manufacturers who ostensibly are supposed to benefit from that, but it's just making life more expensive for manufacturers if the aluminum and the steel that you need is much more expensive and things like that. So I don't see a world where a blanket across-the-board tariff strategy is good economically. I think targeted tariffs can be helpful if it's coupled with other policies, but not this sort of every a pox on every import.
Right. Give us some more details about how small businesses have been impacted.
Yeah, what we're seeing is small businesses are seeing higher costs. We just put out a report that I co-authored that found that small businesses are paying about 3 times in tariffs that they were paying prior to Liberation Day. J.P. Morgan had a similar finding about medium-sized businesses. And what that translates into dollars is that your typical small business importer paid about from February of 2025 to 2026, paid about $300,000 more in tariffs than they were paying the year prior. And that is a tripling of what they were paying in tariffs. And so that is a significant cost that small businesses are eating right now. And then they are faced with the decision when they eat those costs. Do I, share some of those costs with my consumers in the form of higher prices? Am I scaling back? Am I not making investments that I was planning to make? Am I not hiring? Am I slowing down on hiring to avoid to help with the cost a little bit without imposing costs on my consumers? And it just seems like they've been doing a little bit of everything, right? We have seen higher costs in the products that people are buying, but we've also seen hiring slow down quite a bit. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence that I've seen in terms of talking to different small business organizations where they've shared stories of business owners who had planned to expand or to build new facilities, but they declined to do so out of fear of the uncertainty in the economy right now. And particularly, last year, in 2025, the president announced many different types of tariffs, and then he would back off, and then he would make an adjustment and move forward with the there was a lot more uncertainty around it in the throes of the rollout of these policies that made that investment climate even murkier. So, I think what you're seeing is a variety of impacts from costs to hiring to reduced investment, and that's just, again, unfortunate because it's like nobody was asking for this, right? He is one of the few figures in public policy over the last few decades that has really been excited about tariffs. He's been talking about it since the 1980s, the president has. And so this is something that is uniquely the president. He really owns this in a way that no one else does, given his fascination with this as a policy tool.
Michael Negron is a senior fellow for economic opportunity at the Center for American Progress. Tomorrow is the one-year anniversary of Liberation Day, and Inside Sources will go in-depth more on the effects of the tariffs on the economy and on everyday American families. A special hour of coverage tomorrow beginning at 10 o'clock in the morning with Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. After waiting for more than 50 years, the family of a murdered Utah teenager, Laura Amy, finally have some answers today. The Artemis II crew just a short time away from liftoff. We'll chat with a space expert about that in about 15 minutes. And KSL traffic, Tito.
We're seeing heavy congestion due to an accident. It's on southbound I-15 between Kaysville and Farmington. Maria?
We'll expect the wet weather to continue through tonight and into tomorrow, but things are starting to clear up by Friday. A nice weekend ahead. It's 2:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Florida, crowds are camped out near Kennedy Space Center to watch the Artemis II launch tonight. NASA's moon mission will be the first in over 50 years. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy also on site for liftoff when 4 astronauts are expected to head on a 10-day journey around the moon and back.
I was alive when the last mission to the moon happened, but I don't remember it. like most Americans, have no recollection of a moment like this, that we're sending man back out to the moon.
NASA says so far the launch is on track. The window opens in the next hour. Tonight, President Trump will deliver a nationwide address on the war with Iran. It comes after more than 4 weeks of U.S. military strikes targeting Iran's leadership and military capabilities. Iran continues to block virtually all ship traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. Speaker Mike Johnson and leader John Thune announcing a GOP-controlled Congress in the coming days will fully fund Homeland Security, they say, through both appropriations and reconciliation. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. The National Weather Service issued a freeze watch warning for tomorrow night and into Friday morning. It will affect most of the northern Wasatch Front and Salt Lake Valley. They say the sub-freezing temperatures are on their way. The frost and freeze conditions after our early summertime temperatures could damage or kill early blooming crops and gardens. We are also finally getting some much-needed rain along the Wasatch Front, but forecasters say it's not going to do much for our water supply following a record low snowpack.
It's not going to make a huge dent in the massive damage that's been done over the month of March.
KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says it's not all bad. The rain will help replenish the soil and combat wildfire conditions. He says if we see enough storms between now and the start of the end of May, we could actually reverse some of the adverse effects of the early start to spring runoff. But when it comes to our water supply, it's what it is at this point. Other local stories KSL is following. Officials with the Salt Lake Metro Jail have new data on the overcrowding within the facility. They presented it to the county council among the new proposals for funding an expansion of the jail. Corrections Chief Matt DeMont spoke on concerns about the rising number of unhoused inmates and whether they are seeking shelter in the facility.
That may happen in some cases, but I think it's more of the exception than the rule.
DeMont says the increase is likely due to the legislature ending overcrowding releases. And taking a look at your money at this moment, it was a great day for the markets. The Dow ended up 224 points to end at 46,565. S&P up by 46. The NASDAQ up more than a full percent, up 250 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Tito?
Heavy delays on southbound I-15 in Davis County. It's due to a crash near Shepherd Lane in Farmington. It has the 2 outer right lanes blocked. Expect heavy delays as traffic looks to be at a complete standstill between Park Lane and 2nd North in Kaysville. With nutrients blended for greener, healthier turf in our local soil, IFA's 4+ Lawn Care program is the ultimate lawn owner power move. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Rain showers tapering off on Friday, about a 30% chance on Friday, but looks like a great Easter weekend. A lot of sunshine, the high on Saturday, 58, 65 for Sunday, and then the showers come back. Hopefully they come back. Coming back hopefully on Tuesday with a slight chance of showers. 48 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You could file your taxes on a basic free service, which is fine. But are you okay with fine? Because when it's your money on the line, do you really want to guess if you missed a credit or hope the math is right? Get the confidence of TurboTax for free right on the Intuit Credit Karma app. Free Fed and free state for simple 1040s only. Around 37% of filers qualify. See details at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for EITC, CTC, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. After more than 50 years, finally some closure for the family of Laura Amy, a Utah teen found murdered in 1974. Today, authorities announced a new development that DNA confirmed that Laura was killed by serial killer Ted Bundy. Laura's sister, Michelle Impala, speaking after the announcement, saying that she doesn't just talk about the crime, she also talks about who Laura was. Michelle painting a picture of them growing up on a farm in Fairview, riding horses and being outside, bonding as sisters do.
You know, we grew up on a farm in Fairview, just like lots of animals. My dad was really into animals, so we followed in his footsteps. You know, we had cats and dogs, and of course, you know, Laura had her cat, and Laura had her dog, and Laura had her horse, Arab, and she was really passionate about animals, and you know, she was fun. I really enjoyed being with her. You know, we spent a lot of time together. And then, of course, as she's getting older and in her teenage years, and she might have been a little rebellious, but, you know, she took me all over. We went to friends' houses and you know, we'd just ride our horses through town. In Fairview, you could ride everywhere back in those days. But, you know, she was 6'1", and so she got a lot of attention, very pretty. Just fun to be around, you know. We spent a lot of time together. And she cared a lot about all of us little sisters.
For years, the family said that they believed it was Ted Bundy who was responsible. The pattern matched and everything lined up. But legally, the case was never closed. And hearing Michelle talk about what their family went through, you really understand how much this stayed with them.
The sheriff picked my dad up, and we all went on Thanksgiving morning, and then my sisters and I, my mom and my dad, my sisters and I went to stay with my aunt for Thanksgiving, have Thanksgiving dinner with them while my dad had to go. He wouldn't let my mom go in to identify her, but he made her stay out, and he went in and he looked at her and just said, "I can't tell." And he was going to leave when he remembered that she had been thrown off of her horse a few years earlier and had scars on her arm. And that's how he identified her, was through them scars, which is really sad. My dad was broken after that. He really was, you know. Just seemed like a happier man before that.
Michelle says in a lot of ways their family already believed that this case was solved, but what happened today finally makes it official. She told KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera something powerful. She says people sometimes think talking about Laura would be painful, but she says for her, it's actually an honor because it means people still care and her sister isn't forgotten. Let's go a bit more in depth on this case with investigative journalist and the host of the KSL the KSL Cold podcast, Dave Cawley. So, Dave, what happened here to actually let them legally put this to rest?
I have a bit of perspective about this, Maria. So I had heard through the grapevine, you know, a reporter has sources that I can't disclose, but I had heard through the grapevine last fall that the Utah County Sheriff's Office had submitted DNA in the Laura Amy case. Mm-hmm. I was immediately interested because I was aware of Laura Amy and the speculation that Ted Bundy had been responsible for her case. I knew that the sheriff at the time in 1974 actually didn't think Bundy was responsible. There have been investigators over time who have said they don't think it matches. There are other suspects. So there were some, you know, over the last 50 years, forces pulling one way or the other. There was even some misinformation reported by the sheriff's office today. They said that Ted Bundy admitted to killing Laura in 1989. That is incorrect. He did not. He was asked about it, but he gave no statement one way or the other. So there really has been an open question, because Bundy never said that he did,
and the physical evidence hasn't been there to definitively link him until today. So something, lit a fire under this investigator or team at the Utah County Sheriff's Office within the last 2 years. They realized the technology was there, the evidence was there. Now was the time to submit it and get that DNA testing. Another little-known fact is, it was a DNA hit from the database in Florida. Well, the reason Florida had Ted Bundy's DNA is because they took blood from him as part of one of their investigations back in the late 1970s, and that DNA sat around until it was actually cataloged, uploaded into this system back in 2011. So, a lot of things had to fall in line for this case to reach this resolution today, but it's not as clear as saying, well, we all figured it was Bundy and now we know. As in many of these cases, it's much more gray.
Yeah, Ted Bundy, he admitted to 39 cases, but does it sound like there are a lot more cases out there?
There's been all kind of speculation. The context is when Bundy was giving confession shortly before he was executed in 1989, he was trying to buy time. He was trying to get investigators to give him a reprieve from the death chamber if he was giving up information. So he gave information about several cases in Utah. The number in Utah that gets bandied about is somewhere between 5 and 8. We know the names of most of those people. Washington, it's more, 10, 15. We know of several in Colorado, 2 at least in Idaho. So when you start adding them all together, you do end up kind of over 30, between 30 and 35, but ultimately we'll probably never know the actual number.
Yeah, but Laura Amy wasn't on that list that he gave people.
Well, she was on the list of suspected, but just not confirmed. So again, there's a list of, and Bundy says, the number is somewhere around 30, but he's not giving you a detailed bullet list of every person. In the case of the Utah confession that he gave, he really only wanted to give one victim, and that was a young woman named Deborah Kent. Deborah disappeared about a week after Laura Amy. Her body has never been found. So, there are all of these links between these cases, and the Ted Bundy story is very much still not closed, but it is a huge relief, obviously, as you heard, for Laura's family today to be able to say, now we know for sure.
And that's because the latest in technology, right? What is happening? Give us an update of how they're determining these cold cases through DNA.
I mean, if you go back to when these crimes occurred in the mid-1970s, DNA wasn't even something that, any police officer, any detective, any prosecutor was thinking about. We didn't really understand it, and definitely not its impact on the criminal justice system. So as they were collecting forensic evidence, they would do things like take swabs, take fingernail scrapings. All of that stuff should be stored, and it should be stored in a way that it's preserved. Truth is, after 50 years, not always the way it works. From what I understand, in the history of the Laura Amy case, some of that evidence was lost, and I'm not very clear, and they've not said today specifically what it was they submitted for this DNA testing. So, I still have some pretty significant questions. I want to know, where has it been all this time? What was the state of the evidence? You did hear them say in this press conference that, it wasn't a great sample. And it really has only been in the last few years that they've been able to get a definitive, single individual profile from such a small bit of DNA. Presumably, they said that was collected in 1974. That would mean probably at the time that Laura Amy underwent an autopsy. But, why has that not been tested until now? Good question.
So many more questions I have for you and so little time. Dave, thank you so much for being with me.
Can I give a quick plug?
Yes, please.
We're going to have on KSL TV tonight at 5 and 6 some very special coverage on this case. It's a big deal. It matters a lot. And if anyone wants to hear from the person who found Laura's body back in 1974, he's speaking exclusively with us.
Gave me chills. All right. Thank you, Dave. And Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Does your home have peeling paint or faded colors? Don't procrastinate. You need to protect your home with quality paint and a worry-free process, so make an appointment with CertaPro Painters. You quickly get a free estimate that's detailed, easy to understand, and then their trusted local professionals will bring fresh color to your home with quality craftsmanship at the right price. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro.com.
Hello, this is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. Take the first step. Visit CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com.
Amanda, I've got a cruise planned in a couple of months, and I was thinking about the other people who may have cruises planned coming up a few months from now, and why right now would be the best time for them to begin their weight loss journey on Soda Weight Loss.
If you started right now, you could lose 20, 30, 40 pounds before June.
That's right.
I lost 37 pounds in 3 months, 3.5 years ago. And the beauty about soda is it's not a quick fix. This is learning that is going to last you the rest of your life and help you be healthy.
Your clothes fit better. Your energy comes back. You don't get winded going upstairs.
Yeah.
Things that maybe you don't even realize. When I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, it felt like a transformation.
You learn what works for your body so you don't get addicted to shots or drugs. You just work with a nutritionist who's going to teach you how to keep the weight off for a lifetime.
Right now, you should go check out sodaweightloss.com, see all the thousands of before and after pictures, or speak with a nutritionist by giving a call 866-800-SODA.
Soda Weight Loss. Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
We are almost to that special moment, the official countdown for the Artemis II to launch into space. Right now, the mission is still on hold, but it's not official until it's actually off the ground. It's not on hold. It's on. It is on. Sorry about that. Meantime, anything could happen within the next couple of hours. Joining me now on Midday to talk about this historic mission is Jason Trump. He's the education director and resident Artemis expert at the Clark Planetarium. Jason, thanks so much for being with me. I'm obviously too excited to talk about this story. I'm changing words, but yeah, this is a big day.
Yes, it is absolutely a big day, a very historic day. Artemis II is an incredible mission. It is launching 4 incredible astronauts. They are not going to be landing on the moon for this mission, but they are going further into space than humans have ever gone before. They are bringing with them some very important and milestone science experiments and doing a whole bunch of science, inspiring a whole bunch of people, and it's just an incredible opportunity for all of us to be able to watch this today.
Is part of what makes this special what happens after this particular mission?
Well, I think this mission is really the next step for us, right? This is the first time that we've been to the moon in more than 50 years. So I think, yeah, what is happening after the mission is going to be the landing on the moon, but this mission is the stepping stone, the first of that, ushering in that new era of exploration. So I think it's very important.
Why has it taken us so long to get here?
You know, there was a lot of acceleration in the Apollo, right? Apollo was the program in the 69 is when it landed on the moon with Apollo 11, and that was in the Cold War era, and the world was a lot different back then. And then, you know, interest kind of died off after that. There was not the political acceleration that we had at that point anymore, and the money just wasn't there. So a lot of things got canceled, right? The Apollo program got canceled, and I think at this point the world is in a much different place than it was back then, because 50 years have gone by. And people are again realizing the importance of being able to have a presence in deep space and the scientific understanding that's going to be able to come from that. You know, there's also things like we want to continue American leadership in space, and that's something that is now on the horizon once again. And we're pushing the boundaries of human potential with this mission. And then, of course, you know, it has a really strong education element to it as well, which Clark Planetarium is happy to be a part of that mission that we share with NASA, right, of inspiring the next generation of scientists, engineers, and explorers. And I think that it's just all coming together at a really special time for us right now.
So what's happening at the planetarium for the launch?
So we've got a launch party that's going on. We're going to be letting seating in the theater start about 4 o'clock. So the mission will launch about 4:30. The launch window is from 4:30 to 6:30. So we're going to be having folks come into the theater. It's going to be, you know, there is limited seating, so we encourage everybody to arrive early. But we have some Krispy Kreme donuts that we're passing out as supplies last. You can get one of those. And we're just going to be really sharing in this special moment. with everybody that's here.
Sorry, Jason, thanks so much for being with me.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Jason Trump, the resident Artemis expert and education director at the Clark Planetarium. How much do you spend on online subscriptions? Things like for virtual storage, streaming, things like that. Do you even know? Text me your thoughts at 57500 and we'll discuss that after the break. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Tito, we have emergency traffic?
Yes, we do. We have heavy delays that remain in place on southbound I-15. It's in Davis County. It's all due to a crash in Farmington around Shepherd Lane. The two outer right lanes are blocked. You would expect heavy delays as traffic looks to be at a standstill all the way between Park Lane near Lagoon in Farmington and extends all the way back beyond the Layton Parkway area. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
How was your break?
It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So, even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code THRIVE25 for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code THRIVE25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up. That's THRIVE25.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does it feel like someone's stabbing a knife into your heel? Or does your lower back give you problems as the day goes on? The Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Ann.
Every time I stood up, pain just shot up my legs. Fortunately, I found the Good Feet store. I went to them after my doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis. And now, thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm 100%.
Wouldn't it be nice to get back to doing what you love, like Patrick did?
I was in constant pain. Somehow my fiance and I found our way into the Good Feet store. Put my foot on the arch support system. I put them in my shoes, my back, my knees, my ankles. Thank you. Thank you, everybody at the Good Feet store. You gave me my active life back.
Learn more or schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com and come in and get your free personalized fitting at the Good Feet store. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Many people worry they're not making the right investment choices inside their 401ks. Did you know that you might have a little-known opportunity to add some additional investment choices to your 401k and get the help and recommendations you've been looking for? This exciting feature is called a self-directed brokerage window. And the best part? The money still stays within your 401k. Learn how the trusted advisors at Capital Wealth may be able to expand your investment portfolio. To learn more, call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Improving your 401k might mean the difference of retiring a few years earlier. Let's find out. Schedule your no-cost 15-minute consultation with the Capital Wealth team today. Call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
Breaking news on Midday, I'm Maria Shilaos. The partial government shutdown could be ending soon. Midday executive producer Andy Cupp is here with more. And Andy, what do we know?
Yeah, Maria, so I just saw in the last commercial break here that House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune have announced that the Republican-controlled Congress in the coming days will fully fund the Department of Homeland Security through both the appropriations process and the reconciliation process. So remember, Congress is on a break, more or less, for 2 weeks now. But it sounds like they will be able to fully reopen the government, make sure all federal workers are paid, and specifically fund immigration enforcement and border security for the next 3 years. So there's not a whole lot of other information at this point. Like I said, they're on vacation, on break. But yeah, according to Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune, they will have a plan here to end the partial government shutdown.
All right, good news. Now, finally, on Midday, how much money do you spend on online subscriptions? It turns out a lot of people have no idea how much they're spending on things like streaming audio, streaming video, and storage services. So do you know how much you spend altogether? How do you best budget to make sure you don't overspend on things like this? So you could text me your thoughts at 57500. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera also had the same question, so he turned to Instagram and he asked younger Utahns to chime in. Roughly 40% of those who responded say they spend between $75 and $150 a month, with many spending even more. He spoke with financial planner Jenna Smith, who says it can be hard to keep track of all the different costs.
So I do pro bono financial counseling with mostly college students and young married couples, and a lot of people have lots of subscriptions that they don't even realize. And so my main advice is to actually take your bank statements and obviously take out all of the names and account numbers, but then put them into AI and have it tell you how much is going towards subscriptions and where it's going. Because it's hard to know and go through all of your transaction history and find out, what's going where and how many subscriptions you have. And that's just a really easy, efficient way to get it all in one spot. And then you can go through and pick which ones you want to keep and what ones you want to get rid of. But it can be really detrimental to slowly have, $100 a month in subscriptions be taken out of your account and you don't even realize it.
Now, she says the best way to combat overspending for online services is education and knowledge.
Finances are just not taught very well in high school or at any point. And so I think people don't really know how to budget or manage their money. And so they hear that something costs $15 and they think, oh, I can do $15 a month. That's like one trip to McDonald's. But then it adds up with every subscription that you get. And so without the base education of budgeting and how money works, and you could invest that money and get a way huge return as opposed to spending on a subscription. I think that education is a major gap, and that with more education, people would realize how much subscriptions can tie them up.
So what about you? How much do you spend on subscriptions, and how do you make sure that you don't spend too much? Joining me now in studio, Midday executive producer Andy Cupp. Andy, how much do you spend?
I'm ashamed to admit I do not know.
I was trying to add it up in my head, and then I had to ask you, does that include cloud service, the $299 that I'm paying for them to store things up on the cloud?
Yeah, any of these subscriptions. I don't know, and part of the reason I don't know is I know I have about, 8 or 9 different subscription things set up, if you're including music and streaming and cloud storage and all that. But the problem is it's hard to keep track of which ones I pay for, because like one of them I get through T-Mobile. My Netflix I get through T-Mobile, but I pay a small amount on that one, like less than the normal amount. Or my Google I get through my Google Fiber. So it's a subscription that I get for extra Google storage, but it's through my internet service provider. And then some of them, like you can add on an additional subscription to a subscription, like on Amazon Prime or something, or on Hulu. And so then you have to keep track of 2 subscriptions there.
Yeah, and then I have to keep track of my husband's subscriptions. We each have different subscriptions for like Sirius, so when we're out in the desert or traveling, we can actually hear some music.
Jeff, I love that she went straight to the desert.
I know, went to the desert.
Yeah.
All you have to do is check the bill once a month. I'm meticulous with this. There's a lot of me going, honey, are you using Hulu? Once a month. And she says, The Handmaid's Tale. And
But hey, it depends. If it's not showing up, if you're getting it through a different thing,
all right,
it's not going to show up really
truly
clearly.
A complication, yes.
Yes.
I agree
Quickly,
with
though,
you.
do you know the total?
No, I know I keep it under $100, but an actual number, no
there you
clue.
have it.
No.
Yeah, not an idea.
Jeff is here to take over. Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is next. Have a great afternoon.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon, 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. We have showers, 48 degrees, KSL's top story, Ted Bundy. A name that brings a chill to many Utahns. A name invoked this morning by the Utah County Sheriff, who said the notorious killer was indeed responsible for a 50-year-old cold case murder. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera joins us live with the story. Eric?
Jeff, new DNA testing now definitively confirms Ted Bundy murdered 17-year-old Laura Amy back in 1974, officially closing this case after more than half a century. This wasn't just an update. This was a room full of her family, multiple generations finally hearing that answer. But to understand why this matters, you have to go back to what happened. For that part of the story, here's KSL podcast investigator and host of the Cold podcast, Dave Cawley.
She disappeared on Halloween night. She had been hanging out with some friends. She left to go home or to, go to another place. She was hitchhiking in Utah County. That was the last time anybody saw her, was hitchhiking in American Fork. And then it was another few weeks when a man and his girlfriend who were taking a hike in American Fork Canyon came across her body. We later learn, of course, that, this man is Ted Bundy, but there was no physical evidence at the time that linked Laura Amy to Ted Bundy.
So for decades, the family believed it was Bundy, but they didn't have that final proof until now.
I know that she would be really happy to know that it's been closed. And just to know that Ted Bundy is like gnashing his teeth in hell.
Investigators say this new DNA profile could now help close other cases tied to Bundy. But for Laura Amy's family, this moment is about finally having a clear answer after more than 50 years. Live, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Some closure. Thanks, Eric. KSL News Time 3:02. Our top national story, President Trump has scheduled a primetime address to the nation about the war in Iran. News Nation's Hannah Brandt says there's no clue what he might announce to the American people.
The White House has not been specific about what President Trump will be